And welcome back, everybody, to the Haichu Autumn Anarchy featuring Fortnite. It's finals, baby. And who better to break it down with me than Reese Hub, the legend himself. What's going on, my guy?
Look, it's good to be back again. Yesterday's games, a lot of fun, undoubtedly. I'm enjoying a little bit of zero build right now.
Yeah.
So to be able to be part of a nice set lobby this time, a little bit more let up in that competitiveness. Look, this is going to be good.
This is going to be great. I'm super pumped. The finals, obviously, are always way more exciting and honestly chaotic when it comes to zero builds than the qualifiers. So that's going to make today's games just that much more exciting. And we got to break it down, though, because we've talked about it. It's zero builds. But is it just zero build solos? Is it squads? Well, for you at home, it's actually duos. This is a zero build duos format. And they're going to be competing not only for pride, not only for some money, but for some Haichu buckets as well. And here's the breakdown. First place, $3,000, Reese.
Yeah, that's a juicy prize pool. Right now, 3K first. Obviously, this is duo, so that's going to be split between both players. 2K for second, 3K for fourth, or so 1.4K for third. Of course, remember that top 8 is what's really going to get the prizing total. And we have 50 duos. We saw them all qualify through from yesterday. So this is some absolutely fantastic prizing. 10K total.
10K total, but look, there's that top 3 receive that Haichu bucket, man. I'm going to be pumped because Haichu's making all this happen. So we appreciate you guys for helping put this on. But for you at home, you might be wondering, dang, I'm not competing today. Like, I don't get a chance to get one of these buckets. Well, you're kind of wrong because we're going to be giving away 5 more buckets today. So make sure you're hanging out in chat, waiting for that code after our breaks in between games, and get yourself ready. Get your fingers ready to type out that code because you have a chance to win one of those buckets as well. And Reese, how much is left in your bucket? Like, let's be honest.
That's a dangerous question to ask me. I'm not gonna lie. Look, firstly, size, okay? just for comparison, I have a big head. I have a massive head, right? And this is at least the same size as it. How much is left? Dangerous question. I'm looking down on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't shame me here. Like, that looks a lot less empty. It's still, you're like, oh, that's still full, but like this was to the brim full.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and remember, guys, we've only had this for like maybe 48 hours tops. Like, we have not had a lot of time to dig into this, so this thing is starting to clean out. And look, it's good. Haichu's good, but these players are good as well. And we gotta hype up players that have qualified through. Some incredible players here in game number 1 are ready to showcase what they have as the battle bus is loaded and ready to go.
Absolutely stepping things up. In our top right, Glaze. In the bottom right, Maze. We see the map on the far left. Let's see the distribution of players. Usually yesterday we saw a ton of fights going on around Flutter Barn. Right now, I think when it comes to a set lobby though, only a single team is landed there. That's great. Simultaneously, a lot of these places on the south, uncontested. Chonker Speedway looking good. And I'm not seeing like a single team flying towards Cloudy Condos right now either.
I'm actually confused. There's a lot of POIs that are open. Oh, it does look like one team might end up going towards Cloudy. They're ducking out of actually Chonker Speedway. Unique decision. I don't know. See, I've been liking Chonkers this season. The vehicles obviously bring a different layer to that POI versus others, but another POI that's open is Herald Sanctum. And I'm gonna be honest, it's for good reason. That NPC boss there is no joke.
Yeah, it's scary, right? And obviously, it's interesting in a lot of the regular BR mode, it's kind of difficult to get a lot of mats in that drop spot. So for a high level competition, Not necessarily the first choice, but for zero build, there's so many chests in there. I think it's something like 47 chests in that one location. So you have such a huge availability of loot. So for zero build, hey man, that may be a lot more contested.
Yeah, I agree. I think it really depends on that loot disparity. What has the best spots? What has the most to work with? But speaking of people that are working with what they got, it's Bora and Jelly walking away with a quick 2 eliminations to start the day. Honestly, great start for them. The players are dropping left and right. I actually just saw Cowboy Jack there in the feed go down too. If you remember yesterday, Hyper Awareness, one of our game winners, that's his teammate. So that is not a great start to them. But we'll see. Things can change once you get those game one nerves out. That's what it's about, right? Start
Absolutely.
to get focused in and honed in, and try not to go down so quick.
Yeah, I saw Panini in the feed picking up an Elam there as well. He was 10th alongside Nate yesterday, so big performance. Obviously, a team who's up at the top of the lobby, but moving right over to the top right of the map, we seem to have another engagement. Bar and Waz going up against Maple and Boulder. Now, this is just such a classic zero build strategy. Stay, hold the angles, play it slowly, wait for your opponents to make a mistake. Because if you notice, Maple and Boulder up above, no shields on them at all, so they can easily get an HP advantage here.
They can, and I think they realize that. They understand what they need to do to just kind of hang out, stay alive, and stay inactive while also being ready to be active if they absolutely have to. But one name that's kind of lacking here from the feed, and we got to talk about them because they showed up yesterday. It's Cut and Busa.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
first place spot there after the qualifiers.
I mean, they won by 27 points.
Jeez.
They had a massive lead on basically everyone else. And their average placement, 1.8. So essentially, I think there was only one game where they weren't in the top 3 that they managed to play. So that's an incredibly impressive feat. I think one of their games, they even had like 17, 18 eliminations in there too. So we're going to be seeing if they can kind of hold up when the caliber of players is significantly higher. When we've got that set lobby, that everything really changes up. It's no longer an open format.
Yeah, it definitely does. Another team we're going to have to pay close attention to today is Simontex and Vex, one of these top duos for sure. And some of the most electrifying gameplay we got to watch yesterday. Remember, Vex had kind of the play of the day, getting Shockwave into Storm, straight into a Rift, back into it, and then wins the game. So I'm looking forward to some more exciting gameplay from this duo.
Yeah, the highlight plays coming in left, right, and center from this duo. They had a bunch of high Elan games similarly as well. So that's starting off relatively good with the one off the drop. And Rave Cave yesterday, we didn't really see that much action in here. We saw Cymatics and Vex land up on that north side. And anytime they had an opportunity to, they would look down below, try get any tags. But this time, it seems like they're just full sending it, jumping down. And that's one knock for them already. They've already got another elimination. 3 total Elams now picked up down in the Rave Cave. So their strategy of landing up top, clearly working out for them.
It is definitely a good start here. 3 eliminations and 3 points, right?
You've got it. 1 point per elimination, 25 total placement points. I'm going to double check that just to make sure there wasn't a difference between the qualifiers and to today. However, that's a big boost on the leaderboard. And here we go. This is Busa and Cut, yesterday's winners. Remember, these guys won by 27 points in the qualifier, about 20% over what team number 2 had.
I mean, just insane performance. But we knew this going in, that they were going to be a top team. But unsurprisingly, they're at the top going in from the qualifiers. But they need to be replicating that same energy here today. It's all about that momentum, right? Obviously, you can pick up a lot of momentum from qualifiers or even from a day 1 competition. But it's about how you carry that same energy here in day number 2. And Cut is off to a great start, getting the knock onto Waz. Now just looking to finish this up on Bar, and a huge shot comes through. And Cut now walking away with 2 eliminations.
That's such a good start, right? This is what we saw pretty much from them yesterday. Early game, taking up a bunch of fights, taking up a bunch of, like, as much engagements as they possibly could. Then to that mid game, they slowed things down a lot, saved that utility for the very final moment, and then picked up those victory royales really, really easily. So for them to get into these fights so early on, like, this is something we've seen repeatedly from them game after game after game yesterday.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. I'm going to be honest with you, Reese. I'm fully expecting this to be the norm here for them. But another team, Skullsy and Fades. The excitement we got to watch yesterday from this team is just like some of these other players we were just discussing. And it looks like they're not slowing down either. 2 eliminations, quickly done. It's actually your boy, Joe.
Oh, not my boy, my guy. Managed to win game number 6 yesterday. And, you know, living up to the nickname on the gamer tag that he has, getting the resub follow on Twitter. I know it's worth so much money, clearly, to him. But unfortunately, this game going down super early. That's obviously now. They're going to have to wait this out in the lobby for the next 5 games to load up to see what they can do.
Yeah, loading up, getting ready. That's the name of the game. You need to make sure that you're on it because any mistake that you make will be taken advantage of because that's the players that we have here. Again, this is the best of the best when it comes to the lobby. We're talking about some of the best zero build players, not just in collegiate Fortnite, but in Fortnite in general.
Absolutely. And I think we need to harp on that a little bit right here, where this is a collegiate tournament. Of course, we've got the top collegiate players that qualified through from yesterday's qualifiers. Cut having 11k collegiate earnings just by himself. So this team right here, like clearly, I think no matter what you can say about them, top of the leaderboard yesterday, top of the earnings leaderboard, they have to be the favorites coming into this.
They do. They definitely do. But I mean, look, anything changes, right? We've seen time and time again in Fortnite history where a team looks phenomenal in qualifiers, then they get to the finals, and unfortunately, they just don't have that same performance. So we'll see how that ends up playing out for them. But Busa going for the snipe there onto it's China, and Venman, his teammate there close by as well. Venman being a staple in the collegiate scene, mainly in casting, but you know, occasionally he likes to pick up the keyboard and mouse and try to play the game. But regardless of the case, he is here, he is competing, and unfortunately, it looks like he could be going up against his friends, Cut and Busa.
Absolutely, he's on both sides of the mic here. They managed to, for right now, be safe. China, really a bit lucky that Busa's managed to miss those snipe shots. That's 3 in a row, managed not to connect with a single one. And if we remember yesterday, we saw Busa hitting snipe after snipe after snipe. So I think China has to sit here and be like, you know what? I'm lucky. I've managed to get narrowly escape this. Ooh, body shot, unfortunately. I thought that was going to be another headshot coming straight through. And maybe as I was speaking about it, as I was saying the fact that Busa was hitting those snipes, he was going to do it. But unfortunately, just a little body shot, nothing in the head. Not an easy wipeout from there.
I'm going to be honest. I think he heard you. I think he was like,
I
feel that Reese is talking about me right now. So let me hit the snipe. And sure enough, at least he hit it, right? It was a body shot. And honestly, it's still a good distance too. But regardless, now we focus in here on Glaze and Spooky Hoods, both using cars to rotate, which honestly, interesting decision. I love vehicles when it comes to zero build. Obviously, it's a pretty big staple of like protecting yourself when you're trying to rotate, getting somewhere effectively. Definitely recommend trying to grab a car. But a lot of tournaments end up banning the cars. So I love the fact that this event is true to the zero build competitive nature of the game, because a lot of times we end up not seeing players able to actually use what is in the game, and in my opinion, what is useful in zero build.
So now that you say that, I'm going to totally contradict what you just said and say that yes. However, we are of course banning goo guns, howler claws, and the pumpkin launcher as well. So you did also notice that one of our players there walked straight over that pumpkin launcher, did not pick it up, and they were like, you could see the hesitation in his eyes. He's like, man, that's some free elims. However, if you do use any of these 3 weapons in any of these games, that game is going to be nullified, so 0 points from you. So if you see players not picking them up, that's exactly why.
Yeah, and honestly, good point, Reese. Good point to pick up on. Remember, folks, 0 point games are not what you want here in the finals, so that's the last thing you want to even risk yourself going into. But for Blay Real, they're just looking to stay alive, looking to play this a little bit more patient. And your boy Joe, he's made it back into the game.
Yeah, he's managed to get rebooted. That's massive. We kind of talked about this yesterday, where there's a really low win percentage for teams who manage to get a reboot off. But for them, they seem to be doing really well here as they managed to pick up the first knock, I think. But no, unfortunately, managed to dick out of there. The opponent right here, super low, and Rank Jake is the one who's trying to escape. Really good strategy. Joe managing to spray whilst Turtle out chases at the same time. So a little bit of a split, right? Keeps that pressure up repeatedly. But unfortunately here, I think this fight's over. They managed to miss every bullet, it would seem.
It does seem that way. And you know, one thing we didn't get to talk about yesterday, so I want to talk about today. What do you think of the change here for launch pads? Obviously, we haven't had them for seasons, right? Now we get them as a slotted item in your inventory. Do you think that's a good change?
Interesting question. I've not fully formed my opinion, but let me hit you with some like initial off the dome thoughts about it. I
Okay.
think the fact that it takes up an inventory slot rather than a trap slot makes you play a lot more carefully here, right? There's a lot of utilities that you might want to take, right? There's snipers, there's shield bubbles, there's obviously a lot of heals as well. Now, if you have to carry launch pads on top of that, right? Well, you have to now drop something else. So players have to play a little bit smarter. Kind of unfortunately, what we're seeing in a lot of these games is they just, well, particularly for build mode, they end up just taking 2 launch pads anyway. It's like they just take whatever they can.
Yeah.
And that means maybe the sniper will suffer, which means they're going to suffer on surge. But in zero build, it seems like it's not as much of a problem because more players aren't taking the snipers because you don't really need surge damage that much. So, long story short, players have to think a lot more. However, is it good? Is it bad? I haven't really made my full mind up yet.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, right? I haven't had enough time with it in the game the way that it is to fully formulate an opinion. So that's why I was curious. I was curious to see what you were thinking. And honestly, we're kind of in the same boat. We'll see how it goes the further along it is in the game in that format. But you never know.
I don't want to say that like no one's gonna be like, oh, I hate the fact that this is now in my inventory. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's a obviously it's an impactful change, but it's not something that's super important. I think what's more important is the fact that when you throw it down, it now provides some of those little metal walls that are just right below it, so it can basically be placed in many locations. And for zero build, of course, yeah, they're small, but you can still kind of hide behind those. And I've seen a lot of endgame situations, you know, in that 4th, 5th zone when the zone's starting to get real small, well, players will use that as that natural cover because it still has 750 HP per wall. So there's a lot that you can kind of do them, small plays that aren't even just using them to move around the map.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing that I've noticed these zero build players do is even if they're not going to carry them, they take it and they throw it down. So just keeping it alive. But speaking of staying alive, is Braden on the back foot here, taking quite a bit of damage, but fortunately going to get back with a teammate. Oliver, huge tag onto Free. That is our game 1 winner from yesterday. Going to go down early, but another team now approaching. The shockwave has to be used just to stay alive, and it's Clay on the other side of this bubble looking to try and make something happen. Oliver taking a big shot. This could actually turn the fight.
Yep, dip, dive, and dodge straight through the shield bubble, basically missing every single bullet. I think this is one of the longest fights I've ever seen with no match placed, but that's unfortunately because the shots seem to keep connecting into the walls, but Oliver picks up both elims, but there is still another player. It's Jimmy who's wrapping around, but no, he's managed to finish that one off easily as well. Now up to 7 elims total, somehow after one of the longest fights we've seen in a long time here. Oliver, Braden coming out on top, but the zone now, of course, their enemy.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough watch if you're on the other side of that, right? Just imagine you're ducking every shot, you're moving, you're like, maybe I have an advantage here, and all of a sudden, your boy just cleans it up. Like, that is not the position you want to find yourself in. You definitely don't want to be going to the lobby this soon. But if anything's going to happen here with Gumba and Our Age, it's going to be them sending a few players back to the lobby. We saw yesterday their aggressive plays working out for them, and it continues to work out for them here in game number 1 of the finals. So I'm not surprised by this start. And wait, did he just slip in another knock right there?
I'm not sure where from, though.
I think he's up above, like literally on the basketball court. I think he's crawling away now. Wait, no, maybe it was the NPC.
Someone's hired the NPC. We saw a bunch of this yesterday, actually. Clearly, game 1, it threw me off. There was a fish stick that was hired completely to my lack of knowledge, apparently, at that point. But yet again, small little interactions we've seen like this are always interesting. I think even more interesting in the feed, we see Busan cut with 2 more, I think, elims popping off now. So I don't know if they're even up to double digit, but it seems like it's a lot.
Yeah, they definitely have to be getting close in. And that's, again, we keep talking about them because they're the team to watch on the day. Like, they are absolutely going to dominate in this competition. It's just a matter of, of how much they're going to dominate here today. But looking at this lobby so far, it looks like they're taking advantage of what they can already.
Yeah, if you notice where Boost and Cook currently are, that's on the far right-hand side. They have to obviously rotate down to where the zone is right now. So the zone will be pulling in towards Tilted Towers, which is obviously where this camera is showing us right now, which means that all those players that are outside have to make their way in here. But as you notice, nearly all these players are hiding inside the buildings. Not a lot of them are up on top with a kind of advantage position that they can see the players starting to rotate through.
Yeah, I'm interested here for players like Kills and Emis, right? This is a nice spot, but you and I know, right? There's a good chance they're not going to have this spot here as the zone continues to close in. So, what decisions do you have to make when it comes to crossing water like this, and you have no
Mm,
material to protect you? So, it's going to be a rough rotate, but there's so many players actually underneath. I didn't even realize this initially. You see Vinman down there, you see other players just hiding out in the caverns. You
yeah,
definitely
they're
going to have to be
hiding.
careful.
They're chilling away. I mean, if you're any of those teams who want to rotate through this water, firstly, this is probably a good chance to use your shockwaves, but you have to choose a timing where no one's looking. If you use your ears and use your eyes, you listen and see when some of those players who might be holding you are distracted by shooting other players, that might be your time to make the rotate. You know what? Sometimes if you go too late, you're just going to be the brunt of the force, and you might have to just take one of those unfortunate bloom battles. Getting yourself early into this position like Kills and Miz has right now is what's going to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, prevention is going to be more important here, but being proactive as well, I think, is going to be huge. They need to make sure that they're aware of what's going
Mm,
on and trying to get ahead here because the more time they spend in this position, the more likely they are to get pulled away and unfortunately have to rotate in a very, very open
yeah.
spot with very minimal stuff to work with as far as utility goes. But now we switch over to Dino's ruled. It looks like his teammate going to be out here. User is down. And with so many players close by, it looks like he might be next.
Now look at that bottom right of the map. How many players are still left in this? And they're pretty much all congested where Cut and Bussa term like basically are. The zone's unfortunately still starting to rotate, so they're having to make their way in, and they're gonna have to start connecting more of these shots as they do. That's one knock. Hyper awareness now down to almost no HP. Two flies up into the sky, gets the knock. Frosty now also down below. That's the double elim for him, but he's gonna have to try and get back into a shield bubble because Busta's also trying to take a bunch of shots. He's also getting fragged out from the side, and the shield keg comes down. The shots come out from Cut as well, and I think that's him now knocked. Yes, now just Cut left on his own. Our current winners are now unfortunately eliminated relatively early in game number 1, so they're going to miss out on a bunch of placement points. But if you look at that map in the bottom right, it's a full 100% water zone. This is about to be a chaotic last zone.
I'm looking at these inventories right now and I'm figuring out who's going to win, right? Because it comes down to the utility that you were able to hold until this moment. For kills, we see some bunkers. We also have Emis carrying some of those shield bubbles. So that should be enough to get to the zone. But will they be able to maintain it? That's the question, especially with players like Fades and Skulls. They'll throw a bubble down and then they'll push you. They don't care. They're ready for
Absolutely.
it. It doesn't matter if it's over the water, over land, you got cover, you don't have cover. They're going to get in your face.
Absolutely. We see the shockwaves coming out. That's throwing some of the players outside of their shield bubble. Skullsy managing to pick up on some of the tags there at the same time. And now you can see a lot of these are starting to go down. Everyone has their own little shield bubble out to the edge of the map. And this is a ticking time bomb, though, because these only last a certain period of time. So everyone, sure, they're covered, they're protected. They can make this rotate right now. But as soon as you start to see those bubbles start to glow, they're about to disappear and all hell is about to raise loose.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going down now. Vex getting a knock there on an unsuspecting player. Unfortunate for him, but fortunate for Vex as he needed more of these eliminations to solidify a solid game number 1. You see it. 5, 6, 7, 8 elims on the duo as of right now. And with so many players still left in this, they're looking to catch some more.
Can you throw a porta bunker down onto water?
You can.
Okay, you can. No one seems to be doing it right now because everyone's just using the shield bubbles still. But again, this is basically going to be a matter of who has the most shield bubbles here, who can play around the walls of this the best. It's 3 teams remaining. All 3 teams are duos. We pretty much have everyone from our top 5. Cymax was 3rd yesterday. Fades was 2nd. And I think Outrage was 5th. So some of our top teams from yesterday are still performing. But look at this from Outrage in the top right. He's found himself a supply drop, something that almost definitely won't be able to be damaged. And he's using that as cover in the water. This is so smart.
Such a smart play, and they're finding the cover where cover doesn't exist, really. So honestly, impressive game sense from them to do that. But if you're Fade and you're Skullsy, you're gonna see this and you're gonna take advantage, especially considering Vex and Simatex, they're taking shots, right? That means it's open for everything to happen, and it happens. Fades and Skullsy gets the 2 eliminations. Now it's down to a 2v2.
It was smart, but it wasn't smart enough. Skullsy has the shield bubble still left up. It's now up to Vex and Cymax to make a push. The shockwaves come out. Fades goes up. Vex also flies to the sky. Cymax, a full chaos down below in the water. The jumping, the bouncing, the swimming, and diving from Cymax down below. But now the shield bubble pushed out. It's now just a full battle of the aim. The jewel goes down, and Vex now picked up. Skullsy is going to pick up the victory royale. 11 eliminations alongside FaZe. Easy way to start out game number 1.
Honestly, an exciting way to start out the game too, because look, high eliminations, victory royale, and we watch it in probably the most chaotic zero build ending zone all over water. I mean, look, you couldn't ask for a better game one to start the day, but if you're these players, you got to shake off some of that nerves, right? Because we definitely saw it there in game number one. Some of the players that we anticipated doing much better, not necessarily finding that success there in the end. So you're going to have to go into game number two a little bit more confident and a little bit more ready to take on things that might be kind of uncomfortable to deal with.
Yeah, maybe some of these players kind of expected that they could just rampantly W key like they did yesterday. You know, the games yesterday didn't have as many players alive when it came to that fourth zone. There was around like 20-ish players, which is enough for chaos, but it's simultaneously, it can cover up a lot of your mistakes, right? It allows you to hide somewhere if you need to. However, now, I think in this fourth zone, there was about 40 people, so roughly twice as many as there previously was in our qualifiers yesterday. So if you make a mistake, like, you're going to be in the open. You're going to have eyes on you, and players are going to start spraying.
And that's exactly what we saw. So it's going to continue to be that way. So, folks, if you're finding yourself in these final moments of the game, be careful and get ready to fight, because sometimes it's going to come down to a bloom battle, just like we saw there with Skullsy.
It very often does in zero build, you know, that's just like a common way to end things out. At the end of the day, one of the most important parts of zero build, sure, you've got your movement, you've got your right hand peaks, your cover, but if you ain't hitting shots, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. But what does matter is we're jumping to a quick break before we get into the next game. So make sure to stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high to choose to be you.
I choose to be true and I choose with my crew. High stepping through my high school, keeping my cool. I live by my rules, mouthful as I drool. Who needs more? I choose, guess who me? I do.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high to choose, high to.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Haichu Autumn Anarchy featuring Fortnite event. Now, if you were here yesterday, you know what comes after a break. And if you don't know, well, we got a surprise for you. The first giveaway of the day of some incredible Haichu candy. And not only just some Haichu candy, but you can win an entire bucket. Now, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get your chat fingers ready. Go ahead and type in code. Wait for it. Fruity. Code Fruity in the chat. Type it out right now for your chance to enter in for one of these 5 Haichu buckets. And may the best person win. You know, Reese, are you going to be entering in today? I know you were trying yesterday.
You're going to see me in chat right now. I've already typed it. I'm going to copy and paste. So I don't know. Does that give us more entries? Probably not. But you know I'm in there. I've already got a bucket. I'm trying to double up here.
I know. I feel that. You gotta get through 2 Halloween, right? And it's definitely gonna take 2 buckets. I'm gonna be real. At the pace that we're eating these bad boys, yeah, we're gonna need an extra bucket.
It's
if you're
concerning
hearing this and we don't win, let us know. But no, look, I'm super excited. We've had an incredible game number 1, and honestly, a solid start to the competition. Now, obviously, when we go into a finals lobby, it's going to be very different than what we saw in the qualifiers, and it started off exactly as we anticipated.
Yeah, chaotic, right? It's interesting that the final 3 duos that we had were 3 teams who came in the top 5 yesterday. You know, it shows that, sure, they had big performances in the qualifiers, but they can replicate that when the lobby is of higher quality already. They can frag out, they can stay into the end, and you know, maybe I'm speaking a bit early because it's only 1 game, but we saw the big names that were doing good yesterday do good today. It's crazy. It's almost like they're amazingly good players.
and to be fair, they are, right? I spent a lot of time paying close attention to the collegiate scene, and these names that we're seeing, the Skullsy, obviously the Cut and Busa, these are players that consistently find success, whether it's the standard BR or 0 build. So no surprise so far that we've seen some success from them both in the qualifiers, now here in the finals today. But that was only game number 1. 5 more chances, 5 more opportunities to do some big things and put up some big points on the day. But I got to talk about it, right? We didn't do it before game 1, so now I want to do it after we've seen some of this action unfold. Predictions, Reese. Who do you think is a team that we definitely have to watch out for, and maybe one that could take it all?
Well, right, let me open my sheet, because to start with Cut and Busa, you know, we talked about them quite a lot during that game.
Yeah.
Really good performance yesterday. Maybe a little bit of a mistake in game number 1. We saw them go down, I think that was around 12th, so not necessarily up there on the leaderboard. But given they had an average placement of 1.8 yesterday, like, I feel like this is a little bit uncharacteristic of them, right? They have the highest earnings out of everyone here, the highest collegiate earnings as well. So I think they're just like an easy top place to be in. For me, a team that maybe we don't know, I want to see Drenner's team, right? And the reason I want to do this is because they came in 50th yesterday. They just inched in. Ooh. That was obviously the qualification threshold. For me, I'm like, let's see it. I want to see a pop-off from them. They just made their way in. I want to see them get into that top 8, make some money.
You know what? I want to see that too. I'm going to be honest. Let's see a huge comeback performance there. The 50th place team just barely scrape it into the finals. Let's see them place top 3. Could you imagine? That'd be amazing. That would be amazing. Look, I'm definitely going to be paying close attention to them moving forward. That's definitely going to be one of those teams. But another team we got to talk about, right? We have a couple caster teams in here doing great things. They made it to the finals. They found success yesterday, and they're continuing to find success here today. We saw Hyper Awareness. They're unfortunately going down to Cut, but his teammate holding on for just a little bit longer. So that's going to be a team we got to watch closely. Also, Venman and his teammate, another caster in the scene of collegiate, but playing today and putting up some big numbers so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And ones I want to add on top of that as well, when I'm looking through the leaderboards from yesterday, Frosty and Mellow, they ended up placing in 6th with 136 points. However, they only played 4 games. You know, a lot of our teams, it was 6 games you could play, but only 5 would count. So 1 game they had off. They didn't even need that. They didn't need 2 of those games. They played 4 and came up, and they were the team who also managed to get a 25 elimination game. So,
makes sense.
Frosty and Mellow, look, we've got some big pop-off potential, clearly.
They definitely do. And again, we talked about it yesterday. We'll talk about it again today. They're another team that when it comes to collegiate Fortnite, they're here. And they're here to play. And that 25 elimination game yesterday is just one of many indications we will see today and yesterday that they're a top team. And they're going to be a tough team to fight against because they're fighters. They're ready to jump in your water bunker. They're ready to jump into your shield bubble. So despite you having a little bit of protection, that might not save you from this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you need. If you're wanting to do well in zero build, you cannot just play passively. You have to make those aggressive plays. Hopefully they're not going to be 50-50s though. If you manage to position yourself in a great spot, you can take advantage of players rotating late, rotating through the open, as we kind of saw there, where we saw the team sitting on top of the house, the players starting to swim through the water. That's free pickings, of course, from there on. But we've had one game already. The second one's loaded, locked, and ready to go. We're starting off with all of our fades and a beautiful map on the far left.
I mean, look, this is a great start here. It looks like a very similar bus path to what we had last game. So it's going to be a pretty similar layout to what we saw here in game number 1. But for players like Fades and Skullsy, it's about repeating what they did there in game 1. They want to continue that momentum here into game number 2, continue to put up some big points. And it looks like they're doing that from Chrome Crossroad, my personal favorite POI on the season.
Here we go. You talked about it yesterday. Today, I want to see if game number 2, we're going to see any drop spot changes. If we look down to Chonker Speedway, remember, 0 teams landed their last game.
Oh my
We're currently
gosh.
seeing 3 teams. So seems like the players already who potentially went down off spawn early have checked the VODs, tried to figure out what drop spot was free, and 3 of them went to the same spot, and I don't think it's going to work out very well for them.
Yeah, I think one or maybe 2 of those teams are going to learn here quick that unfortunately that's just not going to be the play for them. But speaking of not going to be the play, it's whatever floats ends up going down to Jimmy Boy, saving his teammate after he ends up getting knocked, and doing it with limited loadout. You see, all he had was that Evo Chrome and that suppressed SMG. That's not a lot to work with. So for him to successfully be able to take out those 2 players, that's a huge start there for them. But unfortunately, Keith is going to be caught off guard as he goes down. His teammate, though, there to save, there to kind of hold it off here for just a little bit longer. And it's actually upper 2. This is one of those players we saw yesterday find a lot of success despite losing his teammate quite a few times.
Yeah, this is an intense all spawn. You got to remember, 4 different teams, potentially I think 5 teams are in this surrounding area right now. So when Uppers managed to take that launch pad, the fact that he's just flown past all of those opponents and somehow managed to still be in this, I'm speaking too soon because he's out, he's down for the count. Game number 2 is over for him because Zoe and Icehawk managed to pick up the Elim.
That is unlucky. But look, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Let's be honest. It does end up happening where you feel like, okay, this wasn't a great start to my game. I got away. I should be safe. Unfortunately, a Hawk swoops in and it causes some trouble. And that's what we just saw there.
Look, pray for a reason. Picked up some of the weaker players surrounding him in Synapse Station. We'll see who else is here. We've also got another knock on to Baloney. Crispy potentially left as a solo here, managed to shockwave away, did get the res off onto his teammate. They're going to hit the rift. Potentially a risky strategy here, but oh no! Rather than hitting the rift, he shockwaved miles away, so Crispy is now sitting out by himself, down by the water. This should be yet again another free pickings for Zoe and Hawk. Yep, that's 2 Elims now off the drop, and his teammate flying high in the sky, nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, flying high, but a great start here for Zoe and Hawk. And look, honestly, I'm going to be real with you. They probably took our advice yesterday. And that advice being for you at home that maybe you didn't tune in, right? Grab yourself some Haichu. This stuff will help you stay focused, stay in the game, and play just that much better. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, I'm not a scientist. I don't know how to prove that, but I feel it. I believe.
I mean, I'm eating one right now. You can hear it.
I'm literally pulling one out. I'm pulling the mango flavor. I was like, I got to find
Oh, I
me.
had that.
Dude.
Is that the long packet? Like the smaller... Yeah, I ate that entire thing earlier. It was phenomenal.
So good. So good. Look, hey, listen, good candy and some good teammates and good players here as these games continue on. But a nade.
Good throws.
Oh, my gosh. What a nade there to get a little bit of damage onto I'm Not No D. So it's definitely a start, but obviously it's not going to be enough for them to feel confident and just push in.
Yep, that cracked the overshield that they had and lost 50 shield from him too. That must have been a Kobe throw right there because there's no one even around them. So how did that grenade manage to land in there? I'm trying to figure out, looking at the minimap, who chucked that?
I don't know. I feel like the only team that could have been close enough would have been Hyper Awareness and his duo, maybe. But we'll see how that plays out. But another team we spent a lot of time talking about yesterday is Egg Daddy and the Stud. Unfortunately, going down very early in game number 1. But here in game number 2, just looking to stay alive as Spooky Hood and Glaze are on the hunt. They do not want to let them stay another second longer in this game. But another team that's struggling, one of our top teams actually, it's Mellow and Frosty.
Yeah, remember they had a 25 elimination game yesterday. Right now, 0 with a knocked teammate, Mello. Trying to do what he can to get away. Trying to throw a power bunker. That's great to start to protect his teammate. Now the Chug Splash comes out as well. He's definitely managed to escape and maybe can sit on this right-hand peak because Wolf and Battlehawk both really low away. So that could be a one good pump shot to pick it up and maybe turn the tides in his favor.
Yeah, it could. All it takes is one real large shot to turn the fight, sway it back into your favor. But unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to work out as Battlehawk ends up picking up Mello and finishing off one of our top teams. Man, Mello was working harder than I was trying to open this Haichu, man, because it was, I'm not going to lie to you, it was a little tough trying to open this here. But
this bucket, you got to put some work in to get that thing open. They're securing that sweets, I'm telling you.
100%. I mean, like airport security couldn't even open your bucket, so that tells you exactly how hard it was.
They cut into it, man. They wanted some. Maybe they took some. I wouldn't even be able to tell. There's so much in here, you know?
That's true. But what's also true, Spooky Hoods, staying on the hunt here for Egg Daddy and the Stud. Look, at some point, you have to choose whether or not using your resources, your ammo, to try and get this fight done is worth it. And considering how far of a gap they've created for themselves, the Stud and Egg Daddy should be safe, and this other player should just decide to distance away. But a huge snipe onto our caster friend, Venman. He's going to go down. His teammate is still up. Wait, that was another knock from another team. Is that 3 teams here in this area?
There is indeed. There's one team hiding in the house. We see Boulder obviously with a headshot snipe. Now, sorry, Maple with a headshot snipe. Got to give credit where credit's due. And China dips away, and I love this. He's just hiding behind that tree over there, and Boulder has no clue where it is. He's trying to scout out to make sure he can't come back. Because obviously China needs to get back for Venman's reboot card, but as you can see, he has absolutely no intent of doing that. He's full running, trying to get out of here as Boulder and Maple are seeming on the chase. But it's clear, look, they don't know where he is.
They don't, but they're still going to look. They know.
Sliding no scope into the bush. I love it.
I respect it. I respect the play. That would have been a great finish to that fight.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be honest. And that's what we were looking for yesterday. But I'm curious. I doubt we'll see it today in the finals because everybody's taking it that much more serious.
I think so. Jimmy Boy picking up Wolf now. Obviously, Wolf, we just saw manage to reverse and pick up 2 elims there. So this is a nice third party from Free coming in. But, ooh, this zone might be problematic for Jimmy. We can hear him hitting the barrels down below. But I'm not sure if he has any other white heals in the inventory here at all. So, sure, he's going to be able to heal up with this shield here. But will you actually be able to get out of this zone? I think he should be fine. This launch pad, it's only ticking for 1. You never know. Rookie mistakes happen.
And I think this might be one. I'm going to be honest with you, Reese. I'm a little confused by the play. Like the pad, obviously, unfortunately, is actually going to be stopped by the tree. This could be a little too late for Jimmy Boy, but fortunately, Free is still in this.
Jimmy.
He could potentially get the pickup if he ends up going down, which does look like he's about to. But now Jimmy Boy has to use all of his inventory resources and utilities just to try and get a little bit closer to the edge. And while he does inevitably go down.
Yeah, it's fine. You can do a res chain. You can both revive. Obviously, it gives you 30 HP when you respawn. It takes 10 seconds and a 1 tick to go down, so it doesn't really matter that much. But a blunder's always funny. Let's be real. Shoot it. Do it, Braden. Do it, Braden. Do it. Oh, well.
You know, it's funny. I look at these situations often here in Zero Build, and I'm like, you have a clear line of shot. Why not take it? And then I have to remember that if they decide to turn around and have better aim than you, you have like no way to truly protect yourself. So honestly, you have to be so smart in when you choose to take an engagement, especially in the final like mid-game portions of the game and then into the end game. If you take a shot and people are around and they're not shooting, they're going to start looking at you and they're going to start trying to take you out. So it's all about that educated and calculated aggression when it comes to playing in Zero Build in those final moments.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of lobby manipulation, right? You're trying to figure out, should I shoot this guy? If I shoot him, hey, everyone else has got eyes on me. And if you also notice that zone is pulling north. So for them, they don't really need to take a fight, right? They're in a good position. They can just hide. They can just sit over there in that gas station. Unlike Egg Daddy and the Stud, man, I feel like every time we switched over them today, they've just been the eyes of someone else's team. Unfortunately, Egg Daddy going down. Maybe not the top of our leaderboards, but the top of our hearts for having the best names in the game.
I agree. So I'm looking for them to make a comeback here going into game 3, 4, 5, and 6. But for game 2 now, it's Bora on the hunt there. He tried to get the tag with the vehicle, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to connect and just immediately disengages. A smart play on his part, especially looking at this inventory here. He's got the utilities to find success in the later parts of the game, but it's just a matter of getting there.
And lose a teammate, of course, we know what happened. We saw, I can't remember which team it was, sitting up there. We were discussing, should they shoot that? And obviously they managed to drop down, pick up an easy Elam, which is Braden's team. That was it, picked them up a single Elam. So that's great for them, but also good for the team who was the victim of it, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to who's going to be the victor and the victim in a fight like that. And fortunately, for some of these players, they're going to be victorious and they're going to get an elite elimination. But unfortunately for Joyful, Ace is going to go down to the stud, meaning that the stud is still in this game despite losing his teammate.
What a stud. What a guy. Managing to pick up Elams by himself as a solo. Like, that's what you got to do, right? If you lose your teammate, still be able to gain some points. You got 6 games total. Top 8 make money. And small little plays like that can start to climb you up the leaderboard. A big Elam in our feed, actually. Cut and Busa pick up Skolzy and Fades.
Wow.
Some of our top 2 teams fighting it out.
They are. That is a tough way to end game number 2 if you're Skolzy and Fades. And honestly, again, it comes from their aggression, right? We saw how much they look for fights, and they do not slow down either. It doesn't matter what point in the game it is. They're going to look to get into an engagement, and sometimes it works out in their favor. Honestly, more often than not, it works out in their favor.
Yeah, we saw that yesterday.
But yeah, we saw. But unfortunately, this time around, when you go up against the caliber of players that is Cut and Busa, you're going to end up going down because they're probably a little bit more calculated in the way they take that fight in that moment.
Yeah, I would say so. For Free and Jimmy, though, this is going to be a tough rotate. You think, how is it going to be a tough rotate? Well, there's nothing but water straight in front of them. It always becomes an issue around this point of the map. Are the players situated around them? Are they going to hold them as they try to cross it? Which way do they have to go? Do they swing along that south side where there potentially is a bunch of other teams on the southwest from them? It seems like they'll almost definitely have to get into an engagement based on where they are. This is where they would end up, and look how many teams are there. Zoe and Hawk down on this side. That map has so many teams on it, and right now Zoe's starting to get tagged up from some of the players on the hill, but a good use of the shockwave just to get away from that as we switch over to Venman, who's managed to get rebooted. Actually, China has gone down, and now Venman managed to clip up a full duo as well. So a full turn of events, 1 player down, 1 player up, and 2 easy eliminations on the board as well.
Yeah, too clean with it was not clean with it there. I'm going to be honest. Venman picking up the elimination and staying alive here.
Yeah, chicken.
It is a zombie chicken.
Zombie chicken.
Zombie chickens.
I wasn't
are
ready for
Fortnite.
that.
Listen, I'm going to be real with you. I wasn't ready either. I ran into some bushes and got fully attacked by that thing. But we were just talking about Venman, and unfortunately, he has gone down. He just went down in the elimination feed, so that team is going to be out here. Both of our caster duos out early in game number 2, but a team that's not out early, it's Solar Ice Hawk still getting hunted by the zombie chicken.
Oh my nightmares. Bringing, or Fortnite mares, bringing things you could never imagine. Like, you know, when you started to play this game years and years ago, do you ever think maybe one day there's going to be some zombie chickens in here? I'm gonna be casting over a game with zombie chickens.
You know, in the beginning, no. About a year ago, I wouldn't be surprised. As soon as things started to go the way they were in Chapter 2, I was like, yeah, anything's possible now. I'm not gonna lie to you. We're literally watching a game where you can hang out with Master Chief, fly around like Spider-Man. Like, there's so much to the game that anything's possible in my eyes.
That's true. On a related note, I feel like you should give me your best henchman impersonation.
You ready?
I'm ready. That wasn't disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't expecting you to commit to it as much as that, and I very much appreciate that you did.
Dude, I mean, I could have done like a speaking henchman too, but I feel like that's too much work, you know. I feel like you got to go for the standard. That little, like, I don't even want to do it again.
Hey, just put through your curveball, see what happens.
Exactly. You know, Fallout did that to me too in a show where he had me rap. Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's a test. That's a real test.
That was a test.
How did you do?
Not good. I didn't do it.
Oh, man.
He didn't challenge me to come up with our cast in a country voice, and I killed that. So eliminated it.
Okay. Yeah. You've one easier than the other potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's it's kind of a drop of the hat. It depends on what kind of challenges you give me. Maybe I'll be able to live up to it. Maybe I won't. But speaking
Yo,
of teams,
shout out to all the henchmen listening and all the rappers listening. You know?
hey, listen, if you're a rapper to trout, drop a rap about Fortnite right now. Let's hear it. But
There you go.
Ted Bear staying alive here, Chug Splash in hand, and unfortunately, it does look like Rander and Twaddle are just gonna watch. They're gonna wait because that bubble is not gonna last forever, and unfortunately, it looks like Ted Bear might only have a few moments left in this lobby.
Again, once you start to see it glow like it is right now, that means it's about to disappear. So Ted Bear, just a matter of pickings. You see there's so many players with the eyes on him. And as soon as that bubble's gone, every single player's going to start shooting. So it's a matter of who can hit the shot. And actually missed if they managed to pick that elimination up or not there. But someone did.
Someone did, and someone actually picked up the elimination on PD Renner here. And unfortunate for them, but
No,
JJ,
this is my guy. This was the 50th place yesterday.
You're right.
Yeah,
No.
PD Renner and Deshin.
Good,
My guys.
good play there to throw the shield bubble down. A bit questionable, but that shockwave to the launch pad play was definitely the way to get out of there. So great on him, just disengaging.
Let's pretend that was intentional.
Yeah, totally intentional.
Yeah, 100% intentional. Phenomenal play from him. Renner's still actually down here, so he might be able to get... Nope. He's down for the count, but Unicorn's still up in it. Dino's left as a solo. He's going to hit that pad trying to get away, but he's got no shield. That's 3 bullets, and he's out. And a long rotate to make, in particular with a few duos still set up right in front of him here. The bush held on our bottom like by Glaze. Great position for them. But we see the pad taken by Dino now. I'm not full of confidence. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I'm not either. This is going to be a tough one to finish out here. But looking at the way this is going to continue to play out, I see a lot of utility got used early in this game. So
Shields, yeah.
I'm curious if that's going to affect the way this in-game plays out. It might actually end quicker. The less utility that these players have to work with, the more likely it is to end much faster, especially with players like Busa and Cut on the hunt here. 11 eliminations, looking to make that 12 there as they try to connect some shots there in the distance. Not going to be able to fully convert that into an elim point for them, but they still are looking around. They know there's so many other players here close by, so it's just a matter of finding the one that they want, and they take it.
Yeah, this is the position that they were in the previous game. About roughly the same amount of eliminations. However, this time there's not a bunch of players holding them at the edge of zone, so they can make a free rotate to get in here. It's very short distance for them indeed. And now the next zone pulls even closer to them too, so this could be an easy victory royale for our qualifier winners, Cut and Busa.
This could be, and this could be the turnaround that they needed. Remember, falling in 12th last game was not what they were looking to do, so fortunate for them. They're staying up. They're in the top 10 for the game now, but will they be able to win it? That's the real question.
We'll have to see indeed. Glaze and Hoods now on the far side of the zone. I'm not sure where this plan is for rotating here because they have to go a long direction. They have a bunch of shield bubbles. That zone pulling completely far. They're trying to make sure they hold off any of the spray from the players that are in front of them, which unfortunately is the entire lobby here. The shockwaves go out. That's outrage out. Oh, imagine.
Wow.
That's some skeet shooting right there. Busta could have got the easy snipe out of the sky. I say easy. Let's be real. That's a trick shot moment. Nothing easy about it at all. I want to see that. I want to see that by the end of the day.
I do too. I'm gonna be honest with you. If anybody's gonna do it though, it's gonna be Busa. Busa honestly
100%.
is insane with that sniper in hand. So I'm curious to see some more eliminations come from that. But now, Blaze Hood's still in this, and surprisingly, they probably have the most utility I've seen thus far in the lobby. They are choosing to use this bunker a little early though.
I do think that, but there's not much around them. I'm more interested, how did they get another car? We saw them with one that was
you're right.
broken down and beaten. Then they somehow managed to find another one. They were in a horrible position with the entire lobby rotated into them. Whatever they've done on that small rotate, huge props to them because they managed to get straight in. And no, luckily they're not the focus of the lobby like Bora is right now. Gumba and Outrage should probably pick up a super easy Elin if Bora's got a snipe. Yeah, he does. Maybe he can do something to counteract this, but it's not seeming lucky. Bora, down.
Down and out, but still so many opportunities still left in this game or in this tournament because this is only game number 2, folks. So 4 more opportunities after this to put some points on the board. So for Bora, it's a matter of figuring out what they did wrong and making some adjustments moving forward. But for Gumba and Outrage, it's just a matter of maintaining the pace that they've shown so far. Look at the eliminations already. I mean, honestly, solid start there. 7 elims. They're probably going to finish around 10 if they can stay alive a little bit longer. Just depends on who they end up going up against.
Yeah, they're going to have to start moving into this zone. They're currently at the backside, though. They might be able to rotate a little bit late. Fire and Blow right now, one of the only teams in the zone. Braden now going down. The team we saw camping earlier on inside that gas station, making it pretty much all the way to the end game. Cut, Buster still in this. Blow, Fire, Outrage. Some of the best teams, top of the lobby, still up in this, but it's off rotate. This zone gets real small. We've seen the repeated battles of the shield bubbles in these final moments, combined with the shockwaves, and this could be some easy elims for Cut and Busa. Yeah, again.
This could be it here. 13 elims on the board, though, as Cut almost goes down. Does stay alive for a little bit longer, but Fire is able to get the knock there. Now Busa by himself as a solo player. Gonna have to make something happen. Shockwave into Storm. Fire going to have to use the Slurpfish just to stay alive. A Shockwave play back in here. 6 HP in a dream. His teammate is down, and unfortunately, he's going to be out here.
He goes down. Busa still with his snipe. Hits hopefully, I was going to say the magic shot straight into zone, but doesn't connect with anything here. He might be able to get the res off onto Cut, which would be absolutely incredible. He's still up on the high ground, and no one seems to be challenging yet, but Glaze is starting to move his way on up on top of that bunker. But yeah, again, a little bit of slowness in the end game. No, they're taking an engagement with Outrage down below. Hood's down. Glaze trying to hit the shots. He connects. That's Outrage dragging down out of the lobby too, but no, he misses the shots. He doesn't. Glaze ends up going down, and now Boost is straight thrown into the zone with the shockwaves. He's trying to go back with his own. He hits the shot mid-air. It's a 1v2 situation going down. Can he connect? No, he goes down, and it's Randir and Twaddle pick up the victory royale in game number 2.
Wow, and this was not the team I was anticipating winning. I saw the aggression from Outrage. I thought for sure it was either going to be Outrage or Cut's team walking away with that victory royale, and there it was. Randir picking up that win. You know what? Good on them.
Absolutely phenomenal. They kind of just stayed in the background, right? You know, when there's so many teams still left remaining, sometimes it's fine just to go undercover, not be the focus of the lobby, and let everyone else fight, and you just come in at that final moment, pick up the victory royale, and claim some easy placement points.
Yeah, that's definitely the play. Like, it really comes down to overextending, staying alive. Like, I've seen so many of these players in zero build still feel like they could probably press one key and build a wall. In reality, that's just not the case. And they just find themselves overextending, jumping too far forward, and going down here. And it's happened now twice for some of these teams. I'm not going to name names, but 2 times I've seen them just find themselves way out of position and unfortunately end up going down. But for Cut and Busa, they seem to be the team that's making people go down here, Reese.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they ended somewhere near like 13, 14 eliminations, which is absolutely incredible. Yeah, they didn't get the victory royale. They placed second, but that's probably the highest point game we've seen so far out of the last 2. So massive props to them overall. And I think in all honesty, like, they're setting themselves up for a run at the top of the leaderboards here.
Yeah, while they're setting themselves up at the top of the leaderboard, we're setting ourselves up for a quick break. So make sure to stay tuned, and we'll be right back with another giveaway.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high, choose to be you.
I choose to be true and I choose with my crew. High stepping through my high school, keeping my cool. I live by my rules, mouthful as I drool. Who needs more? I choose. Guess who me? I do.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high, choose high, choose.
We're back here with the Haichu Autumn Anarchy event featuring Fortnite, Resub, and myself breaking it all down. But I know why you guys are here. I know what you've been waiting for throughout this entire break. You want your opportunity to walk away with one of these incredible Haichu buckets that we have next to us. Well, we got you covered. Code for this giveaway that you need to type in the chat right now is
Resub is cool.
Okay, you keep trying with this code, but it's not it. It is actually High-Chew. Go ahead, type away in the chat. I already know Resub's got it pre-written out. He's ready. He's ready to press enter and get involved here in this giveaway. But your chance to walk away with one of these massive buckets, not only for some of the winners of today's game or today's tournament, but also you, a viewer, can have that same opportunity to walk away with one of these amazing buckets. So make sure to type High-Chew in the chat right now. Get your load ups in. Get your what is that? Your tally in. It's your chance to walk away with some of the best candy on the planet. Now, Mr. Reese,
Mr.
we're
Panda.
2 games in, my man. 2 games in.
That means we've got 4 left, of course. Still the top 5 count, so if you end up doing something silly in one of those games, you can use that as a little bit right off. I'm looking at the leaderboard on my other screen right now. Cut's team in number 1 place, ahead by only 1 single point, and it's Twadl's team who ended up winning that last game there, who's managed to be in second. So it's a real close race up at the top, and even after them, Outrage is in third. 2 points behind that as well. So the top 3 looking super strong right now. And I'm kind of looking at the trends here and its average placement. Twaddles 2.5, Outrages is 3. So like keeping into that top 5, and especially obviously winning games as well, massive for keeping up on top of this leaderboard.
It is going to be massive, and it's going to be close. It's honestly exciting because yesterday, right, in the qualifiers, there's a bit of a discrepancy in points, right? There's definitely some larger leads, especially going into game number 3. But this time around, it's a 1-point lead for first place. And it, of course, is Cut and Busa, our winners of the qualifiers yesterday. Now here looking to do the same thing today in the finals. But it's still up for grabs, folks. If you find yourself in the top 10, it still could be yours.
Absolutely. And that's the kind of thing with Zero Build. There's 25 points total for placement, and then add every single elimination onto that. And we're seeing big elimination games, double digits up into the 15s. That's something that you don't usually see as much with the standard BR mode, right? The top players in Zero Build can frag out so much more than they can when it comes to a traditional building mode as well. So, we're seeing some exciting games. We're seeing guys, obviously, like Cut's team there. I think mental arithmetic, was that 15? Yeah, when I'm looking down below, 15 elims there as well. We just saw 7 from Twaddle's team who ended up winning. So a lot of double-digit elims that are going down currently. And hey, if you want to be climbing up in that top 3 where you get yourself one of these bad boys, a lot of good prize money, and of course an invite to the Code Red tournament later on in the next week. Hey, you got to be dropping some high elims and winning games.
Yeah, and that seems to be the puzzle that a lot of people are going to have to solve is, will they be able to balance both their placement and their eliminations? We've seen some teams that have found consistent ways into the end game from the first 2 games, but they're not in the top 3, which is, honestly, it speaks to the fact of how, number 1, good Cut and Busa are, because they came in 12th and came back in a big way there in game 2 with all the eliminations they had on top of getting great placement. But now if you're a team that you don't find yourself in the top 3, and maybe it is because you're a little too consistent but no elims, figure out a way to get those elims. They present themselves. It's just a matter of whether or not you're ready to take them when they do.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is about positioning yourself ahead of things. Timing is really everything when it comes to Zero Build. There are a lot of positions on every single zone that you can take that give you visibility over the entire landscape. Now, honestly, if you're one of the teams who drops near there, that kind of spot in a zone pools that gives you more time to get up onto that power position. If you're late, you're going to be stuck at the edge of the zone. Those players are going to have full eyes on you because they're already going to have claimed those really good spots. So timing is everything. If you pull a zone, grab a power position. If you're a far rotate, go early. Make sure you're getting to those best spots as fast as you can, because you'll be able to hold people and pick up so many more elims that way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's what it boils down to. It's you just have to be ready to pick up these elims. I know it's scary sometimes, guys. I know that sometimes it's a bit of a risk going for an elim, But in all reality, it's about the balance between the two. So finding that balance is going to be important as we dive now into game number 3. And let's see who we're going to be diving in with. And it, of course, is Twaddle and Randir.
Bar. Game number 2 winners now coming back for game number 3, seeing what they can do. Of course, that left map, I always want to see where the players are dropping. Top left seems a little bit congested. Chrome Jam Junction looking good up there too. A little bit of fights in Lustrous Lagoon. You know, we've seen up in that sunny steps to the top right, a bit of action going on there too. And interesting, Twaddle and Randir, a team now landing down in Chonkers. So obviously they were one of the teams that we saw in the previous game who switched up their drop spot. Game 1, no one landed Chonker Speedway. Game 2, 3 teams landed there. So if Twaddle and Randir managed to win this off spawn, oh my goodness, there's so many teams landing in this area. Look at that. I think that's 5, maybe 4 teams that are trying to land in this full spot. So they have a lot to kind of fight against here.
Reese, what am I seeing? Like, I don't even understand this. Like, we went from game 1, no one, and I mean no one was here. And now we have 4 teams landing here, 1 landing just south of the POI. So that's 5 teams in total that are going to be a problem for these players. And honestly, with that much contestation, it's going to be a tough fight for anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. But Randir says, you know what? Nah, we just won this game, and we're going to start this fight off fresh.
Yeah, of course, the shockwave comes out. I'm not no D. Managed to get picked up before his feet even touch the Fortnite floor. That's 2 elims for them off the bat. And already now, some of this contestation's being cleared out for them. So they're going to have a little bit of an easier time now. Be able to loot up, be able to slow things down. And this is the risk when you're a top team in the lobby. Getting contested. If you lose that one game, man, that's a 0-point game, you know? And if you're a team who slowly accumulates points game after game after game, man, that's going to be a rough one for you.
It could be rough. It definitely can. But for Egg Daddy and the Stud, they need to have a big comeback game here. We saw them now twice, unfortunately, fall earlier than they would like. But with their not only their names, let's be honest, while we do love their names, they're probably our favorite names in the lobby.
No, they are. No, probably about it.
Yeah, that is true. I think they can overcome this. I think there's a solid chance that they can climb into the top 5. It's just a matter of what they do next here in game number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And seems like they have a bad team sitting near them. Of course, that's Twaddle and Randir. A team who will now be in first place with the 2 elims they've got. So that'll be them overtaken on the leaderboard. But hold up, Stud managed to pick up 2 elims up top. Egg goes down, but Randir's team now starting to push in, chucking the body, seeing if he can get any of this loot before he starts to go out. But yeah, Twaddle's already snuck up. He's going to be able to get that big beam, and this will be an instant finish if he manages to pick it up. But no, he gets away. How much longer for, though? The shots start to come out, but somehow the Stud has managed to get his way out of this. But now, yet again, the chase is on. Can he get away from this or not?
Yeah, that's the question, but it does not look like it, as Randir is going to be able to connect a massive shot there, and he's not done. Randir still looking for it, still knows that the Stud could not have gone far here around that bend, but is actually going to opt to just go back for Egg Daddy and leave it there.
Yeah, it's not their elim either, so they're not getting that finish. They'll get the finish, sorry, but they're not going to get the points for that because they were not the ones who claimed that. So that's going to be unlucky for them. The Stud left as a solo, maybe able to get back in, get the card. As we move on over to Flutter Barn, yesterday we saw a ton of action here, and it was Joe and Mopey who were managing to be the ones who were consistently on top of that. And we'll see, this seems like another elim now. Tough Bob stuck in a vortex up in the sky. And I think a good strategy for him to disengage by using the vortex as line of sight, right? He's flown away to the other side and just completely covered the other team's vision. Mopey Turtle and Joe have no idea that he's already gone.
Yeah, while that was a tough decision or a tough situation there for Bob, he is going to be able to get away and use that tornado to protect him. But for Mopey Turtle and Joe, you have to make the call. You know how weak he is. You know how much damage you were able to put forward. Do you push that, right? Especially the fact that they have zone. So pushing it is not going to necessarily result in some kind of unnecessary fight that finds himself in Storm taking crazy damage. So I think, in my opinion, that might have been worth going and pushing. But another team getting pushed here, it's Upper 2 and Keith. It's actually reversed here. We saw Keith go down first last game, but now it's Upper 2.
Yeah, team of solos, unfortunately, not really doing that great when it comes to the fight. I think Keith now trying to hold a good angle here. I love this. Just playing slow, trying to wait for Tadkins to drop down, and we might be able to see the headshot snipe. We did see Tadkins a lot yesterday. Definitely a highlight player for me alongside Unicorn Man, but nope. He's going to manage to pick up the finish, and I like how slow he's playing. An experienced zero build player is never just going to jump straight down onto angles they don't know, in particular in buildings and in corridors and small areas like this. So really great play from him just to be slow, right? And just to understand. If I drop down here, Keith Jenks, headshot snipe could be coming.
The headshot snipe can make the difference, man. It's that's the one thing about it. And I'm still on the fence, right? I know the community is some of the community, I should say, not necessarily happy with the re-addition of headshot snipers, but at the same time, if you're exposing yourself enough to get headshot snipe like that, then I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of on you. That's number one. Number two, if you do get headshot snipes, yeah, sometimes, and in those finite times where you get headshot sniped and you were doing everything you possibly could to cover, the other players would go, I don't know what to tell you. It's probably Thomas HD. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, sometimes it just depends. You know, I feel like with a headshot snipe, it's just rewarding to watch, which is always super important. You know, we've seen a good few really nice snipes across the last 2 days. Definitely the highlight moments so far, outside of the great shockwave play we saw yesterday. And I think not having that in the game is a miss.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not going to give you a better argument than that, though.
Yeah, I mean, from a player perspective, it could be tough.
I'm a professional watcher now, though. That's all that matters.
That's true. That's true. We are professional.
I'm not
viewers.
getting headshot sniped.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. We both are.
Yeah.
Because it's not like we don't load this game up and get headshot sniped anyway. But, oh, man, it is a tough situation here for Maze and Big Bluff. They're going to be able to disengage, it does look like, with the truck. Again, just showing the value here of having vehicles in this game mode. But in the distance there, it's Outrage on top of that mushroom. I'm curious. I'm curious where Outrage is landing. Do you remember?
Greasy Grove.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm just saying that, by the way, because he's in Greasy Grove right now.
Oh, okay. Look, I don't remember if it was Greasy Grove yesterday, because we did tune in to Greasy off spawn a few times yesterday, but I don't remember if it was them. However, I don't think it matters where Outrage lands. They always seem to find success one way or another.
Yeah, they did a great job fragging out yesterday. Multiple double-digit games for them, up in the top 5 of our leaderboards total. And today, like, you know, they're pulling strong simultaneously. But Frosty and Mellow, again, a team that I was really excited about yesterday, dropped a 25 bomb, which is honestly just nuts. On top of that, they've obviously only played 4 games out of the 6 total and still were in the top 10. Super impressive. So today, though, not seen as much from them when it comes to the finals, but maybe this is the game. They've already got 2 elims. This is looking like a clean sweep at 4 right now, picking up the Big Bluff. No missing every bullet. I take it back. I need to stop giving these guys credit and anyone credit at this point before it actually happens.
You know, this is the second team that you've done this to.
I know, right?
I think it was Boosta yesterday.
No, even just this game.
That's true.
You were stud like, earlier.
Yeah, you were literally like, oh man, they're going to connect those shots, and then every shot after is missed.
My expectations are too high. Oh my God, Frosty! No! The full turnaround. The Big Bluff not living up to his name, doing the exact opposite, completely destroying Frosty out now. And Mellow tries to go for the redemption, hits a shot, cracks the overshield, but unfortunately doesn't manage to pick up that elim. What a turnaround.
What a turnaround indeed. And this is actually unfortunate here for Mellow and Frosty for a few reasons. Obviously, number one, Mellow's going to have to play for Frosty, for the reboot onto Frosty, which is not going to be easy, to say the least. But also, look at the utility Mellow's having to use right now, and Frosty, after his reboot, is not going to have much to work with. So this is going to be a tough rest of the game for them, even if he does get Frosty back in it.
Absolutely. We've seen really 4 utility is what seems to be ideal in this when it comes to endgame. And that's maybe 2 shield bubbles on one and 2 shield bubbles in the other. I think we have seen in this that a lot of players are utilizing the shield bubbles a lot more than the porta bunkers. Sure, they're also getting used a ton when it comes to endgame, but I think the shield bubbles seem to be the priority, which is kind of surprising to me because I would think that potentially there's a bit more utility when it comes to not actually using the shield bubbles since they only last for 30 seconds.
Yeah, but I think when you're in a good lobby like this, when you use the porta bunker, multiple players are going to focus the walls too. I think that's another huge thing we've been seeing in zero builds, where the porta bunker gets placed, everybody starts focusing the wall. But now that we have overshields added, because remember, this is a recent addition here too for everybody at home that doesn't realize, the shield bubbles, while they came back last season, they were taken out, and now they're back again. And honestly, I'm glad they're back.
Oh, me too. Absolutely. They're a good addition to zero build. It's interesting more because we're used to watching a lot of zero builds that squads. So now when you've got duos gameplay like this, you have to really be careful about your inventory management. It's like, you know, you ask these questions: do we take the shield bubbles? Do we not? And at the same time, I also have to point out Tadkins ends up actually being picked up there after making a valiant effort to try and get his teammate rezzed, and it is not going to be enough. In the distance, we do see Busa and Cut as well as they're starting to rotate through Chongo Speedway, a dead side rotate. So potentially that's what some of our top teams are starting to do now. They're staying away from as many other players in that early game as possible. They're staying that full edge of the zone, the dead zone, where those other players are not. That could be basically the key to their success for winning this entire tournament if they keep that up for 6 games solid.
I agree. I mean, look, they're in first place right now. So it's just a matter of kind of going into maintenance mode and staying consistent above the rest. So while it is a tight lead, it's only a 1-point lead, but it's still enough to give them confidence to say, you know what? We're just going to play this as safely as possible, get eliminations where we can. And it looks like Unicorn Man might be the next set of eliminations to go for as Busa connects some shots on his teammate.
Yeah, that's the tags that matter, but Tadkins managed to try to dip away, and maybe this is going to be a 1-to-1 cut. Might be able to pick up him as we see Busa maybe potentially getting the shots here. The body shot snipe comes through. Busa is undoubtedly the best sniper in this lobby. Start adding at HG to the end of your name. Remove that 7. I'm sorry. We need to put some respect on this man's snipes here.
We definitely do, and Unicorn Man is going to go down. Another player up there immediately just turns and snipes him. That's just the absolute talent coming here from Busa, but Tadkins is still close by. So Cut and Busa need to be careful. They cannot afford to get caught off guard here, especially with another team looming there in the distance.
Yeah, they can. They're still on the safe side. You know, this fight that they're managing to take is relatively safe to do. I'm not sure if they understand. I think that's yet another NPC in the other side of that. Up on top of the vortex, the hurricane that we've got here of players. Headbear, Jenks, Nitty, just chilling up above. They understand that they can just sit there, right? It's almost impossible for players to see you at that distance. Seeing a res come off, potentially it might be time to throw that shield bubble. I think they may be getting a little bit greedy, trying to save it for the rest of the game. Yep, being way too late. If they managed to pop that earlier, he could have actually got that revive off, but unfortunately, Churros is going to be picked up now, going down. That's going to be an easy elim, but I was thinking he didn't see him there. Come on, dudes. Oh no, he's in the car. That's the opponent. I thought they were teammates here. I thought they were best buddies, but no, high five for them. They're going to get picked up. That's Glaze picking up 2 elims total now, and a car to rotate with as well.
I mean, look, this is definitely a better start to this game than I was anticipating for Spooky Hoods and Glaze. Because remember, last game we saw them be a little too aggressive, and unfortunately that spelt their demise. But here in game number 3, while they are staying aggressive, they are definitely doing it way more calculated than before. You see only 2 eliminations on the board thus far for them. They're being a little bit more patient there with the car, but now Cut and Boost. So we switch back over to, of course, them cleaning up 2 more elims and 3 now fully on the board for them. And look at the utility now. These pickups have been massive for them.
Yeah, and I like that they're using that utility just to rotate into the zone, right? Like, they have all this excess left. They can just chuck and drop it here. And I think we saw a headshot snipe there that we may potentially miss. That might be Busa managing to pick up another one. If we see this knock and he gets elim straight away, that could have been a free one. Yeah, Busa hit another headshot snipe there. Engage that fight. We obviously missed it because we were on Cut's POV there. How can you expect to hit something like that? So that's just 2 free elims. More utility, and you can see them. Yet again, just chucking those into zone. Another staple of the zero build mode. All of this is excess. It's just sitting there. So they're using it to rotate. They throw it ahead of them, rotate through it, get into the zone, and then claim a good position.
I'm going to be honest, Thomas. You might have a little bit of competition here when it comes to the sniper, because Busa is putting up some numbers here today with that thing. And now looking to use the Evo Chrome. And you know what? I didn't get your opinion on this yesterday. The Evo Chrome Burst Rifle. Oh my gosh, another snipe. But the Evo Chrome Burst Rifle, beautiful weapon in addition, right? A little strong now. What do you feel?
It's mainly strong in build mode, most importantly. Right now, like, a lot of the things you're going to need is a ranged weapon, right? In this, you want a spray, you want a range. It kind of gets that full combination, but only when it comes to mid and kind of close range. But I like that Busa's combining that with the sniper. So for super far range, he doesn't need to do these small little tags. He's got the snipe for that. And instead, he can just use that kind of Evo Chrome up in close range. Just by itself in zero build, it's not as good because you do have to make sure you get right up in people's faces, exactly like this. It would be in a great position there, but it's a great addition to the loophole overall.
It is, and it looks like, of course, Outrage, Gumba still holding on, but as I say, holding on, Gumba taking quite a bit of damage here. Fortunately, Outrage is going to have that bubble, is going to throw the bubble, and smart play there from Gumba. It was quick, and some at home might not have noticed. He split his bunkers so that he could give his teammates some utility, which is always a good play to split, especially in a situation like that.
Oh, managed to... Wow, that was one of the fastest elims we've seen so far. Just jumped straight into the box, or into the bubble, I should say, using the shockwaves there. Mellow and Frosty also picking up elims. They're back up in this game. Was one of these... Mellow was down, was it not?
Yes, Mello was down early this game.
Mello was down. Oh my god, Joy has just been sitting hiding behind the rock there. Mello and Frosty have absolutely no clue that he is there at all. But, of course, the zone does not pull here, so they're all going to have to rotate at some time. If I was Joy, I'm looking to go... Maybe he's got... Does he have a sniper? Is he able to maybe just sneak up behind them? Hit a little headshot snipe? Oh, what is this loadout? How has this happened? Okay, I see why he was hiding behind the rock.
Yeah, I don't think
they
had another option.
No,
Nope, no AR.
No.
You know what?
You know,
the Ranger is not the slowest shooting shotgun in the game.
Yeah,
I mean,
it should not only got one bullet per clip. There's guns there. I think I feel like I could. You correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like Joyful Ace is just playing a challenge mode where he's only using the Ranger shot. Like, you know, making a YouTube video. I played a tournament but used the Ranger shotgun only.
That could be it. I'm gonna be honest with you. That could be it. I get those challenges all the time. I see them on my For You page, on my home page of YouTube. So maybe that's it. Maybe that is. But for Frosty and Mello, they're not playing any challenges. The only challenge they have here is to win.
Absolutely. And still 24 players left up right now. The players in the power positions are those in that right-hand side that you see all the way up on top of the impossible rock there. They're the ones who have vision down to every single player down below. And everyone down here is the guys who are just going to be scrambling. Yep, you look up and it's Miz, who's currently in 7th place going into this game, sitting all the way up there, looking down on everyone. The next zone, unfortunately, however, going to pull over to a relatively open area. There's only a few small little nooks and crannies that you can hide in here. No bushes in that zone at all, unlike the one that Vermin's camping in right now. He's managed to shockwave out, left his solo. I think it's going to be pretty wraps for him relatively quick as the entire lobby also starts to set their gaze onto him. But no, he's seemingly managed to stay up using the portal bunker.
Yeah, listen, the bunkers are great, but in that situation, if it wasn't for other players like Hyper Awareness there getting involved in the rotation of the other team that was focusing Vinman, he may have ended up getting eliminated there. So honestly, Vinman should be happy that other players were getting involved, because now he's able to stay alive in this game. But team players that aren't alive as of right now, it's Bar. It does look like health dwindling out and completely out as Hyper Awareness finishes that cleanup there. But Nate and Panini here playing very effectively together, but no eliminations on the board. Does have tons of utility here for Nate, and a little bit of heals. Not too much to work with, but definitely something. But it's okay, because Panini's got 6 chug splashes.
Absolutely. And Needy deciding and opting not to go for the headshot. Doesn't matter though, because the body shot's enough. As soon as Ted Bear just drops down below and the fall damage will pick him out. But that right there is a classic case of overextending, over-peaking, poking his head right up, allowing him to be shot. This is a tiny zone for 18 players to be left in it. I think we're about to see the numbers start to go down very, very rapidly. And Twaddle and Randy are still up in this. Remember, they are Game 2's winners. They are previous game's winners, and they are still up in this, potentially going for a back-to-back. Watch out for the... Oh, I was about to say, watch out for the tires there, as they're going to sped you fine out. But Miz also hitting some good shots. That's Mello, still up in this. Great job managing to basically turn the entire game around here using the shield bubble.
Yeah, and honestly, it's risky for MS to jump in this. And of course, as I spell out the risk, he immediately goes in, gets double shotgun, and unfortunately is now completely out, leaving his teammate to try and make something of this game by himself. But with Twaddle and Randir here, our game, what was that, Game 2 winners or game? Yeah, Game 2 winners.
Game 2.
They're still in it, which is massive for them, because they need every point that they can to get up on the leaderboard ahead of Cut and Busa.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure if Cut and Boost are still up in this game. We're doing the wide angle pan down. No, they're currently out right now. So this could be them taking the full lead as we see Nate in that far bottom right taking engagement. Mello with a great job getting that reboot off and still managing to be up in this match. 9 players still left alive, 5 teams total. The snipe comes out, but it doesn't connect. Randy are now down to almost nothing. The shield bubble used. They still have 1 more left in the inventory too. So this has already been a fantastic game for them. Let's try cap it off with a victory royale as well.
That would be a great cap to this game, especially after that Game 2 performance. They're going to need something big to come back in it. And so that's what we see there. Mello does a great job of playing the shield bubble here, playing that edge, only coming in and out when necessary, and it results in them picking up a few eliminations. But Frosty actually getting tossed there into Storm, now desperately going to have to use a Chug Splash and actually find some more and Shockwaves.
That's massive for him. All more utility. He can now fire himself back up into the zone. He's straight back into his teammate, managing to use the Chug Splashes to heal him up as well. This is a top teammate right here. My teammates, unfortunately, just go the complete opposite direction without telling me. I need a guy like Fly on my team. Twaddle, shockwaving up, managing to use the other shockwaves onto the other team. That's Glaze now out, down for the count as well. Randier picks up that one. So that's another elim for him on top of the leaderboard and on top of this game already too. Now, more shockwave chaos starts to come out as Frosty starts to fly above. He's in the zone, fires Randier out too. Twaddle too, now ticking away at the time, and he's going to have to start to get himself back in, but not using the weapons, just unfortunately using those shockwaves too, and his time is ticking as his HP starts to go down as well, and Randier, his teammate, manages to spray down, pick up the double elim, and pick up the Victory Royale back to back.
Not only is that back-to-back Victory Royale impressive, that's going to solidify a massive lead over Cut and Busa to take the first place spot. While we don't have the finalized leaderboard yet, we can definitely comfortably say that that's going to launch them really nicely into first place. But man, game number 3 did not disappoint. Now we're at the halfway mark, and with only 3 games remaining, there's not a lot of time left to make something happen here.
Look, Twaddle D, but certainly not Twaddle dumb. He's been playing so smart this entire game. Remember, we saw them on the dead side of the zone. They wrapped fully down to that south side, staying away from pretty much as many teams as they could, taking those slow engagements. Anytime they picked up an elim, they used that utility to keep themselves going in that match. So huge from them. Like, they are the ones who've impressed me by far the most on finals day.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I think they're coming into this finals and playing out of their minds, which is exactly what they needed to do, because this is where everything is on the line. Qualifiers, it's just a matter of getting here to the finals, whereas finals, that's where the prize money, the opportunity to go play in the Code Red event, and some buckets are up for grabs.
Absolutely. And of course, big props to Mello and Frosty for getting the reboot off and coming up, I think, was that second or was that third they placed in this game as well? So huge turnaround from them. You know, we definitely didn't expect when we saw that kind of fumble from them earlier on in this pretty much same location. So massive props to them for doing so good. It was second indeed here. And Randier also losing Twaddle super early on and also managing to pick up the last 3 elims. Like, that's an impressive finish for a man as a solo.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It honestly, I'm actually just I'm at a loss for words.
I can hear it. Yeah.
Genuinely, this has been some of the top tier action that I've been wanting to see out of the collegiate space, and we're getting that. We're getting that here. With only 3 games though remaining, who's gonna come out on top? We'll find out after a short break, and then we'll get into those games.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high to choose to be you.
I choose to be true and I choose with my crew. High stepping through my high school, keeping my cool. I live by my rules, mouthful as I drew. Who needs more? I choose. Guess who me? I do.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high to choose, high to.
Welcome back, everybody, to the High Chew Autumn Anarchy featuring Fortnite. Now, Reese
And
has some incredible games, some incredible plays, but one thing is still left to be done after this break, and you know what it is.
it's giveaway time. It's giveaway time to give away one of our tubs. Of course, every single game we've managed to give away one between yesterday, 5 total. Today we got 5 yet again, and I'm wondering, what do you think that code's going to be this time? I'm throwing it up in the air to you to catch, just put it out there and guess it.
Yeah, I know it's not going to be Reese Hub is cool. While
Wrong.
I agree that statement is correct, I don't think it's going to be that, but I have a feeling it's going to be one of those High Chew related codes. And you know what? Let's dive in. Let's figure out what the code is here, chat. It looks like code is going to be Chewy. So go ahead, type away. Make sure you're typing Chewy in the chat. As this goes on, you will have more opportunities to get your hands onto one of these High Chew buckets. But for now, code is Chewy. Here's your chance.
Imagine, we have these buckets. I have been eating an almost unbelievable amount of these sweeties across what I would say is the last 2 days. I'm getting looks saying you can't be doing that. That's inhuman. And I'm saying, look, they're too good. They're too tasty. I got to keep shoveling them down my mouth because I can't stop. And look, you could relive that experience.
Yeah, listen, if you at home would like to go into the sugar and focus mode that we have gone in here during this broadcast and yesterday's, go ahead, type Chewy, because that'll be your opportunity to get the same candy that's keeping us up, active, and ready and vigilant with these games going on. So I'm excited to not only consume some more High Chew myself, but for some of you at home to have that same opportunity to consume some as well. Now, though, we got to talk about game number 4. We got to prep for it because this is going to be a big turning point for some of these teams. If you're cutting Busa, right? You didn't necessarily have the game 3 you needed to solidify the top spot, so you've lost it. But on the flip side of that, our game 2 and 3 winners, again, I'll say this again, 2 and 3 winners in Twaddle and his teammate are able to walk away not only with a fantastic first half, but with that first place spot.
Yeah, right now they're in the lead by, mental arithmetic, 24 points. That's unbelievable. And also not true because it's 14 points. There we go. 16 points. Wow, guy. What they say repeatedly is do not be on show, don't be on camera, don't do math at the same time. But one thing I can count to, and that is number 4. We have the 4th game loaded, locked, ready to go.
Hey, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I was struggling with that math too, so I'm glad you took that. And
reading leaderboards, I tell you don't do it. It's a chronic mistake doing mental arithmetic while trying to be smart.
It is. But for all of those at home that want to know the top 3 as of right now, Twaddle's team is in first place with 92 points. Cut and Booster in second place with 76 points. And Outrageous team is in third with 74. So this is a close race here in the top 3. So it's still not quite over yet. Nothing is defined as this goes on. But if you're Twaddle, you're looking to really solidify this lead. Already taking out Egg Daddy to start this off and looking for anybody else that would like to challenge you.
That's massive. They just keep winning game after game off spawn. They've managed to do this. Obviously not game number 1 because there was no one dropping here, but 3 games in a row they've managed to win this 1v1. Not managed to pick up the stud straight away, though. It was faster fighting the last 2 games. It was pretty clean, but remember, there's also quite a few teams surrounding them at this point, too. We got the team off to the west. Ooh, Stud managed to hit a bunch of shots onto Randier now as well, and chase is on, right? As that shield's broken, you got to start the engagement, keep it up. But unfortunately, I think the Stud may be able to get out of here. They're trying to shoot the wheels out to make sure that he's slowing down his action. Will they chase? Doesn't seem like it. I think they're just going to be content with the rest of the drop spot remaining pretty uncontested from now on.
You know what? In my opinion, that's the play. You don't want to just continue to push out, especially knowing that there are several people that have been landing here and not all landing within the actual POI of Chonker Speedway. So smart play to just disengage, go back to looting up and getting ready for the mid and late game, because that's where the real points come from anyway.
I do agree with that, of course, later on. Your placement's going to come through. These elims are good, and we've seen Twaddle and Randier repeatedly do this. And then they play slow. They basically, I don't want to say they do nothing, but they play it really casual. They keep away from everyone else for the rest of the game. They play the dead side of the zone where the rest of the players aren't. And they just take any opportunities they can to get elims, but they're not hyper aggressive. And that kind of play style is the reason they've won 2 games in a row. One with 7 elims and then one with 10.
Yeah, definitely a lot to work with. But unfortunately, Churros and his teammate, they're going to go down and out here. relatively early. I believe this is the second game back to back where unfortunately they're going to go down before second zone even presents itself. So tough start there for them. But for players like Bumble Melts and Bryn, they're just hanging out on rocky reels, just doing their thing. But I think they realize Winter Jack is close.
Yeah, there's a team surrounding it. Seems like they might be going for a pinch. If you see Bren moving on that far side, and it doesn't seem to be too much aggression, though. I say they're going for a pinch, but potentially could be falling into a trap if he walks straight into them. But no, it seems to be okay. I have a feeling they're not entirely fully sure where they are. But yeah, I'm not D is up on top. Nice spray down. That's a lot of headshots. He's connected as well. Bumble now down to almost no HP. Not D dropping down.
Ooh.
The mantle to catch himself. The techers on him is absolutely unmatched right now. But now he's got a two-player lead straying right at him. Will he be able to hit the shot that matters? No, only a minimum damage there. The shockwaves comes out, managed to get them out of the shield bubble. And I love the casualness. They're holding that angle. They're playing slow, not pressuring, not crumbling at all, not hitting some of those other shots. But Bren also managed to connect back, and he goes down. No, what a complete turn of events. Bumble and Bren managed to clutch that completely around.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Not No D had every advantage in that fight, and unfortunately,
Somehow
just
lost.
lost it. I'm not sure exactly. It happened so fast that I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, okay, they win this fight for sure, right?
Hey, just,
right.
This is why I'm no longer calling the outcome of fights. You know,
Yeah.
done it twice. It's been wrong twice, and I would easily call that. I was like, that's a clean win. Someone wins that. I'm clearly mistaken.
Me too. Look, it's not just you. We're both looking at this from a different lens and different perspective. But for Solar Ace, Hawk, and Zoe, we saw they're very good off spawn. They don't tend to lose here, and this is not going to be any different as Glaze has now gone down and Hawk is able to pick that up. But looking at the inventory, 4 shield bubbles already. I mean, the game just started, and they're off to a great position here as far as the late game goes. It's just a matter of will they be able to hold on to it.
Yeah, of course, we've seen a lot of action down here in Synapse Station. There was a lot more teams in some of these earlier games that were looking to fight, and Solar, I think, has basically just bullied them out at this point, outside of the one team that was remaining that they've obviously half picked up here, and that's going to leave them with so many different opportunities to pick up different loot. And again, if you're wondering, why is he not picking up the pumpkin launcher? We have 3 banned items that are not allowed to be used in today's tournament. One of them was his pumpkin launcher, the other one is the claws, and the third one is the goo gun. So if you see anyone using any 3 of those, report them.
Absolutely. Let us know, man. Make sure to
maybe not us
keep
personally,
involved.
tournament
Well,
admins.
Keep us at AVGL involved. Not necessarily resub and Life with Panda, because I'm gonna be honest with you, we don't have that power. So
No, if you DM me on Twitter, like that guy's, he's not getting removed or his game nullified.
Listen, Reese might add some points, so you gotta watch.
Maybe
You can't,
depends what the message is.
Oh yeah, exactly. Reese Hub is cool. If you say that in his DMs right now,
That's at least 10 points worth.
there it is.
I
10
would say.
points. But somebody that's putting up points, Outrage and Gumba, 2 eliminations there in the feed. And I'm not surprised that they're off to a solid start here. They seem to continually have a really great game plan when it comes to their off-spawn engagement. And so far, they haven't lost yet. So that's good for 4 games here. But anything can happen in these final 2. The nerves could be at all-time high. They're in a top 3 spot now. They could feel the pressure. Anything goes when it comes to these competitions. So it's so hard to call what happens next. But a team that doesn't know what's happening next, but really wants to make something big happen is Frosty and Mellow. They didn't necessarily have the game 2 they wanted. They put up some serious eliminations on the day regardless, and now they're looking to add 2 more to their belt.
Yeah, and I think they might be able to do that. Yep, the big beams, they're not missing, but unfortunately, there's just not enough time left to pick up that opponent. And Mopey, who's up above Joe, not getting the dub, getting beamed instead. And this is an interesting loadout, actually, from Frosty. Notice how he's not really got that many heals left. He got the 2 chunk cannons, or the 2 shield kegs, sorry. That's just because he's managing to take so many of these porta bunkers instead. But yep, that's Mopey down, so Mello picks up 1, and that's going to be the finish as well. The other teammate, Joe, seems to be able to just completely get out of here. He's just gone. I think he's just flown away. Oh no, he's been picked up as well by a third party. It's Dino who's managed to pick him up from up on top of the balloon.
That is tough. Listen, if you obviously these positions up on top of the balloons are nice to some extent, but if somebody with a sniper is paying attention, it's a pretty easy snipe. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's not much you can do to defend yourself when you're up there. So you get caught off guard, it's say bye-bye to your game. So you have to be super careful there. and looking in the elimination feed, I've seen Cut and Boosta's name almost nonstop.
They're fragging out this game. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Mm-hmm. Boosta just got another elimination there. I wouldn't doubt it to be with a sniper. I'm gonna be honest with you, Reese, but they're still picking things up.
I'm thinking headshot snipe.
You know, it would be about time.
I think it would. Yeah, I've not even seen one of those yet. That's if for anyone at home who was unsure. That was a lot of sarcasm. We've seen a lot of those because Boosta's hitting every single snipe.
Every single
Dino,
one.
not so much yet. There's still time. He can still, bring the hype up. I'm still believing in him right now. No faith is lost. Maybe a bit of
little
faith
faith.
lost. Yeah, maybe a little. Maybe a little bit of faith lost.
Just a little bit. Look, and one thing I want to point out here that Dino and User are going to take advantage of is the double bounce off the balloon. So when you're bouncing with the balloon, you just go up a traditional way. You have a nice elevated launch, but if you land on top of the balloon and then double bounce again, you're actually going to cover so much more ground. So a little tip for you guys in chat, make sure to take advantage of that in your next game. These players like Aggie here, they're already taking advantage of it. And Rank Jake is ready to go as he's looking to connect some shots there with Keith. Keith is going to shockwave away, going to be forced to use quite a bit of utility there. And it does not look like that utility is going to... Oh, it is actually going to help him and keep him in the game. But Rank Jake and Aggie, I don't think they're done yet. They want that elim. They said, you know what? We're still going to go for you. Come back here.
Agree. You know what's interesting? I've not seen as much mudflap gameplay as I would have thought. Let's see if it's worth doing. Well, Jenks seemed to think it is because he's managed to grab that jump away, but it's going to blow up there. That's going to take him down to almost no HP. Is he going to get the elimination, or is there going to be a third party? He does go down, but no, it's Skolzy who third parties in there and picks up what I would probably consider to be his easiest elimination of his life. That's a single bullet, single elim.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. If you're Jake here, I think you throw the shield bubble sooner, right? You know how weak that player is, and you want the elimination for yourself. But no, Skolzy just fully diving in here. The shield plays are coming out, but it's not going to be enough as Aggie and Jake are both out here to Skolzy.
Yeah, it seems like Aggie was a little bit lost when it came to the walls of the shield bubble there. Continually walking in and out, bouncing off, shooting the walls rather than giving that little bit of extra time. You know, it's an acquired skill being able to use the walls of a shield bubble to come in and out. As a long-time FPS player, I have happily some experience leading back to 2007 Halo that has kept me going strong when I'm playing with these shield bubbles to this date. But unfortunately, it's something that's super easy to mess up if you don't know the timing that well.
You're exactly right. And I think that's one of the things for these players. A lot of these players, Fortnite is one of their first games that they've played at a competitive level that includes an item like a shield bubble. Whereas like you and me, for example, we've experienced tons of titles over the years for many years where that has been a staple part of gameplay. So it gives people like us an advantage. I mean, let's be honest.
Clearly, we're not using that advantage, are we, right?
We still seem to be going down. I'm not going to lie to you. But
we're talking. We ain't playing, you know?
Exactly. But it really comes to show who can adapt quickly and who can't. Because this is a re-edition here in recent days, and players like Boosta were quick to pick up the successful plays with the shield bubble.
Do you agree with that? Switching back over to some more vehicle action. We see Borat, Jelly starting to dip on out here, trying to get away from as many players as they can. I'm not sure if they're trying to take an engagement. I'm not sure if they're trying to find a position. I'm not sure they entirely know, honestly, what they're going to do here, but this is the third zone, so trying to get as close to the center as possible. It's going to give you the highest chance of pulling the fourth zone, meaning your next rotate is going to be the easiest. And I like the positioning here. Now, I was trying to figure out, can you actually get up here in zero builds? I know you can, because you have to crouch on top of a ramp in build mode. I don't think you can actually get up there in zero build.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I think that's unfortunately going to be a bit of a misplay here. But Cut and Boosta switching over to them, it does look like they realized players were close, but they don't know where they are quite yet. And if they're not careful, Cut could end up getting caught off guard. I will say this time and time again, while Cut is an incredible standard BR player, out of the two, he's the weaker zero build player. But,
all right.
And you see it right there, actually, as he ends up getting caught off guard, barely staying alive, but does get the slide in just to stay up for a little bit longer. But now Boosta, with the sniper rifle in hand, does realize that these players are close by, is going to have to provide some kind of cover fire here as his teammate now launched himself into storm, launching back. And it looks like Waz and Bar, they're just going to opt to get away from this chaos.
Yeah, that may have been a little bit of a panic that we've seen there using the shockwave, but it happens to the best of us. Managed to be okay. Bar and Waz managed to get out. No elimination to them, so they've been playing super slow, super conservative, and I think this game that we're seeing right now is a good reflection of that, right? They don't want to take the engagements. No, they don't know who they're up against. They don't know they're coming across the most aggressive duo in the lobby, but even then, they just want to get away. They just want to play the game. They're trying to get for placement. They're trying to get that Vic Roy.
Trying to get the Vic Roy, trying to make something happen here is Skullsy and Fades. 5 eliminations and looking to make Vex the 6th. Huge tag to start their 28. But will it be enough? You see them still focusing on Vex, despite him using the shockwaves, despite him finding some cover. They still are trying to connect the shots. They're breaking out the walls here, and now the shield bubble comes out. That's going to be the deterrent that Vex needed to keep Skullsy focusing on somebody else.
That it is indeed, and they are in such a good spot now. Fire and Blow down below. Basically trying to just sit underneath that ramp. The second that wall and that ramp's broken, they have nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Yep, Blow goes down. Fire now still left in this as a solo as well, and Skullsy seems to be just picking up the easiest elims so far, and that's just purely based his positioning. This is one of the things I talked about earlier on. The way that you get eliminations when it comes to zero build is about getting to good positions, but making sure you're there early so you can hold players who are in really bad positions, like Blow unfortunately was down below.
Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to positioning in zero build, you kind of have to take what's given to you. And sometimes, unfortunately, there's not much given to you. I'll be real.
True.
But for Skullsy, they find themselves in a nice spot. They were getting sniped at, though, there, to be quite honest with you. So they might not be safe here shortly. But for Bar, he does end up saving his teammate, despite him getting knocked, keeping him in the game, and now is going to pick him up. But looking at that inventory, he does not have much to work with for the remainder of the game.
Yeah, Rifty though, or Nifty, sorry, and Ted up on top. This is in the 4th zone now. They're all the way up in the lobby. We remember this, what happened from yesterday's qualifiers. The team that was setting up on this exact balloon here was the team who ended up doing really well. Actually ended up coming second. They didn't manage to win out the game because it was a bit of a choke. So for Nifty, if you're looking at a team saying who's in this lobby is in the best spot, who's going to be able to win, you've got to put their name into the bucket.
Yeah, you definitely do, but some names that are already in the bucket. It's Outrage and Goomba. You see them down low, just hiding out in the building. Honestly, probably the best position in my opinion right now. That natural cover, nobody else is really seeming to run towards it. As of right now, anything can change. So that's going to be a good spot for them to just kind of duck out and wait for these final moments, wait for some of these teams to dwindle away. But for Ted Bear and Pretty Nifty, they're just looking to connect shots. You see them just continually moving. That's what you have to do in zero build. You can't protect yourself with the wall, so you got to keep ducking up, down, and sideways to just stay alive in the game. And Dino has been discovered. Busa gets the quick cleanup, but not without taking a ton of damage.
Yeah, it's fine. He's got the shield bubble, the shield keg right next to him. A couple bandages as well. Oh, I was going to say, will he be able to hit the characteristically strong snipe of his? But unfortunately, no, he's not going to be able to there. But they picked up the Elam there, which is great. However, they have managed to still lost out on some HP. 40 down total for him. Body shot with the snipe connects. The player's starting to rotate through. They've managed to, yet again, chuck some of these leftover shield bubbles up ahead. A couple pretzels on the ground. Spooky pretzels. Able to get back up some of that HP that they managed to lose away while taking that engagement earlier.
Listen, if anybody's got the best theming in gaming, it's got to be Fortnite. I mean,
I'm with
every
you,
time a holiday comes around, there's something incredible to watch. But wait, what am I?
We are watching an AI right now, just to let you know. I know you're confused. That was
like,
not Busa. That was a singular click on a rogue AI player who just chilling, just eating some popcorn. Maybe it's spooky popcorn. I don't know.
Respect. I kind of want some popcorn now. I'm not gonna lie to you. After watching that, I'm like, man, you know, I might be able to get some popcorn tonight. So that might be the play. But a play here for hyper awareness and Jack is to stay alive and make something happen, because, quite frankly, this hasn't been the day that they were anticipating. We saw them in the qualifiers win a game and also find a ton of success into the end game. Unfortunately, this is a very different story told here for the finals. And with only 2 games after this game is going to be crucial to where they find themselves at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I think this is probably safe to say, our most stacked game so far. 28 players still left alive in 5th zone. Everyone's just being so slow though. Like everyone, because it's a POI zone, it's going across crossroads right now. So everyone's just sitting in a corner. They're all just sitting in a building. They're sitting in their spot. No one's moving. And unfortunately, Busa and Cut have to start moving here. So if they end up taking a left turn that just takes them into a bad spot, there could be a player just right there camping, ready to pick up them as easy elims.
It could be. It's just a matter of how they'll be able to pick those eliminations up. That's the question, because it's not a matter of if. And you see it there, Busa picking up Joy. And let's be honest, these two have just been non-stop, and the snipe comes out yet again. What a headshot through the window. Busa is going to get the knock, but probably not going to be able to get the finish, unfortunately for him. But smart play here. If you didn't realize what he did, he threw the keg on the outside and then went into cover as quickly as possible and still able to consume that shield through the wall. So good play on him to pick that up, but Cut on the aggression, or on the aggressive side of things, looking to connect with a player just up above.
One of the things we haven't pointed out yet is Cut always has this mythic hammer assault rifle. It's based on where they drop, and they have it every game. And in a game like Zero Build, where the assault rifles is something that just puts on so much damage, they're the thing that really gives the high DPS in this current meta. At least there's SMGs aren't that powerful. Having that extra level, the mythic, just allows you just to deal out so much more damage and just have so much more pressure onto all of those other players that are around you.
It is, and looking at the way that they're set up here, they're using their only bunker here to position just under an existing build. Honestly, probably a smart play here. You see they have a clean line of sight behind them. Nothing in front of them can really get to them unless they start breaking out walls. But now we look at a very different POI, or POV, and that's Hyper Awareness and Jack here, still using this building to their advantage, just trying to stay in it as long as they can. But unfortunately, they're going to have to move, and with only shield bubbles in Hyper Awareness's inventory, it could be a tough rotation for them.
Absolutely could be. We've seen starting players go down now. It was 28 when this zone started to pop. We're down to now 22. Look at the mini-map in that bottom right. So many players just stacked all the way up on top of each other. And someone is going to have to start going down early, right? One of these teams, one of these players are going to be the winner of this game. And they're going to have to be the playmakers here, because every single second that passes, this zone starts to get smaller and smaller. And all these players are getting pushed closer and closer together. And basically everyone we've seen, not many of them have heal-off potential if it comes to that. We just saw Cut there with a bunch of chug splashes, so he may be able to win it if it goes down to a heal off, but we'll have to check in and see what everyone else has as well.
This is actually got to be the most stacked in-game we've watched to date here over the weekend, so this is going to be an interesting finish. You see Pretty Nifty actually going to go down there, leaving his teammate by himself. China is down as well. So many players are starting to dwindle here. Venman going down too. Spooky Hood finding a really nice spot up here. He's going to use the med kit, going to get healed back up as his teammate tries to cover up here what's happening, and Cut picking up another elim there onto Jack.
He's starting to frag. Busa holding that right angle as well. They managed to pick up, I think, 3 elims since the last time we checked there. Using those chug splashes, maybe potentially a little bit early. We'll have to see. Will it be more important to save it for the white heals for later on? Busa finds Gumba just hiding down in the corner. That's another 2 elims just like that in a blink of an eye. They've got shield bubbles everywhere. Wherever they go, they're covered from their single every angle that they possibly can get. But now it's down to 10 players left remaining. So many solos still left in it as well. And again, Busa and Nut moving up in the leaderboards, but no, Twaddle is still in this as well. Remember, they won the last 2 games in a row, and he's still in this up into a top 5 situation.
Wow, that might actually keep him in the top spot as well. Despite Cut and Busa having an incredible game here, they still might not be in first after this. But for players like MS, they need to stay alive, and unfortunately, they're down and out. Busa, though, also out here as Cut needs to hold on. He does end up shockwaving himself back into Storm a little bit. Does have the chug flashes, though. He should be able to heal all the way back into zone. Now finds a player. It is Twaddle. He ends up taking out first place, but he unfortunately is going to go down to the Storm.
1v1 situation. Hyper awareness starts to go up. It's Nate, the other player left in, but no, his HP starting to go down to the zone. The right hand peek picks it up for Nate, and he's going to pick up the victory royale at the same time for game number 4.
Man, poor Hyper Awareness. A bit of a misplay there with the shockwave. Launched him actually into Storm a little bit, taking some unnecessary damage, and results in him only going home with second place in game 4. But look, 2 more games remain. So much more action yet to unfold, but so much action unfolded there in game number 4. So let's break it down here, Reese.
Yeah, the off spawn, of course, we've seen every single game from game number 2, Twaddle picking up and winning off spawn again. Remember, if in game 5 or game number 6 they end up losing that battle for the drop swap for Chunker's Speedway, I mean, that could be monumental for the leaderboard, because that's just instantly a game they get no points on.
It is, and I'm curious, right? I think there's some teams like Dino, for example, Dino and User. They are incredible players. We saw great performances from them yesterday.
Yeah.
But now going into these final 2 games, what are they going to have to do to change it? What are they going to have to do to avoid Busa, like that elimination there? Because
I mean,
unfortunately, they picked them up a few times.
I keep seeing them in good spots, right? I keep seeing them like on top of balloons, high ground positions. They always have good utility, good loadouts, but there just seems to be like a lack of awareness. Potentially that's timing on the rotations after that, right? Once they've gotten themselves into that good spot, maybe they're just tunnel visioning a little bit too much on where they're focused, right? They're staying that kind of maybe 2, 3, 4 seconds a little bit too late, maybe 30, maybe 40, and then all these teams are getting ahead of them and they are being victim to where they should not be, right? They should be in a good spot, but they end up not being.
No, I agree. But look, guys, we need to take a quick break. Reese and I, we need to get our high chew on. We'll be right back after a short break, and maybe you'll win an opportunity to get some high chew yourself.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high, choose to be you.
I choose to be true and I choose with my crew. High stepping through my high school, keeping my cool. I live by my rules, mouthful as I drew. Who needs more high choose? Guess who me I do.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high, choose high, choose.
see. Do I have any? Oh, my bad. Hey, guys. Welcome back to the Haichu Autumn Anarchy featuring Fortnite. Look, I'm excited to dive into this bag of Haichu. I'm not going to lie to you. I was looking for a mango flavor because that's my favorite right now. But Reese and we got another present for you. And that's another code for another bucket giveaway. So if you're ready, I think it's time, Reese.
Ready? Time to type in chat. Here we go. What's our code? Haichu yet again. So get typing. You're going to see there's 5 minutes in chat for that. Whoever wins, you're going to have a lot of Haichu sweets. You know, we've got them here. We've been munching on them the last 2 days. That is the prize ready up. Of course, also remember, if you come to the top 3 of the leaderboards as well, that simultaneously will also get you a bucket alongside a bunch of nice moolah, some money, and obviously some qualifications through to the Code Red tournament later on next week.
I'm gonna be honest, right? Obviously, I've worked with some people and they've done some things for the community, right? But Haichu giving out 15 buckets over the course of 3 days. Yesterday, today, and then the Code Red event that's gonna be happening later this week. So that's 15 buckets there. They're giving away 3 buckets to the winners of today. Plus, they gave talent buckets. Like, listen, Haichu is spreading the wealth, and I appreciate it. So you guys, spam Hi-2 in the chat right now for your opportunity to walk away with some of or your chance at a bucket as well. And look, I'm ready, Reese. 2 games remain. Only the 2 more opportunities to change up this leaderboard. And as of right now, it's starting to get tighter than I originally anticipated.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's been a 2-horse race for basically throughout the first couple. I think we're actually going to get a little sneak peek view of what the leaderboards currently are. Remember, we are currently 4 games down. This is 6 games total. And remember, 5 of those games count. So if your worst game, remove that from your leaderboard. So where the leaderboards are now, currently after game 4, is going to be a massive indicator. So right now, Twaddle and Randir in first with a 10-point lead. Cut and Busa in second as well. And it still kind of is a bit of a 2-horse race. Outrage is in there, but in order for Cut and Busa to drop that far down, I mean, they have to have a real bad game.
They do. And looking at that game there for Twaddle and Randir, right? What kept them in that first place spot was them holding on. But unfortunately, with the limited eliminations that they got, that's what made the lead they originally had start to dwindle here. That gap is starting to decrease. Remember, they had almost 20 points there. Now it's only a 10-point lead. So this is going to continue to shift here in the next 2 games. If they're not careful and they're not getting those eliminations as well as that placement, Cut and Busa are going to take that first place spot back.
Yeah, and you know, it's a massive difference between first to 10th, right? 48 in the bottom, 116 up at the top. Like, man, that really shows how well our top teams are currently doing. They're just leagues above everyone else right now.
They are, which is honestly, it's exciting, right? It's exciting when we have a race that is close, but when it's a top 3 race that is close, and then you have like everybody else competing for 4th to 10th, like, honestly, it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds and how this finishes out, because I have a feeling we know who's walking away with the buckets, but we don't know who's walking away with first quite yet.
Yeah, of course, and remember, that invitation to the Code Red tournament has some of the best zero build players out there. There's Tfue, right? There's some of the biggest pro players that we've got on the NA East region, but right now it's still all to play for. Currently loading in to game number 5.
Loading in and getting ready is Twaddle and Randir. Chonker Speedway is still their home, and surprisingly enough, it does look like there's other teams still landing close by, but it's not as contested as it once was here in these last few games.
Yeah, they managed to not 50-50 off spawn for once, which is nice. There does seem to be a player up to the northwest landing on the trucks that are up there. There's obviously a ton of chug splashes that you can get in that area, so there's a lot of good heals. However, you know, I'm not necessarily certain the loot's going to be that good. It's actually his teammate Randir, okay, who's far away from him. So they managed to set themselves up, settled nicely. And again, this is just shows how good they're going to be going on through further this game. The main problem that I said this team would have would be the off spawn, right? And now that they have no one contesting them, this could be free pickings for them to get yet again another end game.
If they get another win here, I think it's over. I think if they win game 5, then unfortunately for Cut and Busa, there's nothing they're going to be able to do to take that top spot, because 3 victory royales, that's pretty difficult to accomplish.
And remember, It would be like 3 of 5 because only your 5 best games count here. So
Yeah.
ultimately, if you win 3 of the games, you're winning 3 of 5, not 3 of 6.
That is honestly a really good point, and I didn't even think about that, to be honest. 5, like, it doesn't even matter. You have a bad game, it won't matter. As long as you make it up and you only have one of those difficult games, it's going to mean that you can still find yourself towards the top of the leaderboard. But Dino, we just talked about it, man. We just had a whole conversation about you. We know you can do better than this, man, but unfortunately, User Dino both out here in game number 5, and it looks like Bren and Bubble Melts are doing a good job of winning this off-spawn fight.
Yeah, we saw it last game as well. You know, we thought, hey, maybe this should go in the other favor. And unfortunately, it obviously did not. It was a bit of a questionable fight that we saw off spawn, but now turning the tides, being a little bit different in game number 5, which is kind of what we usually expect in an off spawn engagement, right? It's very unlikely that a team will, 5-0, 6-0, win every single engagement off spawn. But, ultimately, that is kind of what we've been seeing from our winners down south.
That is what we've been seeing. So I'm curious. Obviously, we have our top team in Twaddle not landing too far away from Rocky here. Could we see Bumble Melt and Bryn end up going head to head here with our top team?
I mean, I'm going to say no straight away because the way that Twaddle's team has been playing has been way too smart, right? They've been playing dead side. They've only been taking engagements that they really need to in the early game. Mid game, they've been pretty passive, trying to keep away from as many people as possible. So, would they rotate through Rocky Reels, which is a notorious spot for players to be set up in positions, be it on like the billboard or obviously in the balloons or the hills that are surrounding it. So I think, I'm going to be completely honest, Twaddle's team clearly look like they know what they're doing with their rotations, and running straight through another stacked contested POI, not a good idea.
You know what? I agree. I think they definitely are making some very educated decisions, and the last thing they're going to end up doing is pushing into a team that they don't want to find themselves fighting. But Gumba and Outrage, these two have been non-stop when it comes to just pushing players left and right. Now, Arby is going to be the next victim here as his teammate just tries to get away. And honestly, the only play you can make here.
Yeah, 100%. If it's a 1v2, you got to do what you can. I love the addition of one player to stay up on top, trying to take shots onto Becklin whilst Gumba tries to push down below. There we go, starts to fly through. Now the shots start to come through, but the tags, unfortunately, not massive, and Becklin will be able to get away. Remember, this time spent not taking shots is time that this player's overshield can come up. So it's really important that when you're trying to pressure a team, you do it kind of separately almost, where one player will be able to like rotate and fly after him, another player will be able to just take the shots, but they don't even care about that. They have other targets in mind. Patel right now trying to escape alongside Churros, who's up at the far side, just trying to do whatever they basically can here. And really, if I was them, got to try to take the engagement. You can tell that this is a team that is not that confident. They're more focused on getting away than they are at fighting, and this is exact outcome of that. One goes down, and Churros likely goes down soon as well.
Yeah, look, honestly, Outrage and Gumba, that was risky the way they landed up there, but obviously it still worked out in their favor. The team, unfortunately, not going to be able to handle the aggression there from Gumba, from Outrage, so they're going to walk away with another elimination on the board. But looking here close by, there are a few solo players not too far away, so they could end up walking away with a few more eliminations, but they need to be careful because those zombies, they're everywhere.
I got a little fright there, I'm not gonna lie. That was a little jump scare. I thought, we watching a horror movie, or is this just Fortnite bears?
In October it's the same.
True.
Hand in hand.
Yeah. There's no difference at this point. Spooky season.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I was actually just about to talk about this team. Hyper awareness. I'm impressed. He gets an elimination there onto Stud. Our boy Stud, unfortunately, going to be out here in this game.
Rip.
So really solid turnaround, but is it too little, too late here, Reese?
You asked me the hard questions.
I know.
Too little, too late. This game or overall on the leaderboard?
Overall.
Never, because 2 wins, again, remember, is 2 of 5. So for them, they can clutch up big time. You know, that's a ton of
True.
points that other players can't get. Sure, you're going to start to see, you know, the teams who've been doing well are going to be impacted less by this, if you think about it, because they've already had 5 good games. So say that 6th game is worse, you know, they're not going to actually gain any points after that. But if you're down low on the leaderboard and you have a good last game and you've had a kind of rubbishy first couple of games, you can fly up way more positions. Don't let the leaderboard after game 5 deceive you.
That's true. That is true. That's why I like this format so much.
Hmm.
I think it provides a different level of excitement here, not only for us as the casters, but the viewers and the players. Because even if they have that one bad game, it's not going to totally tarnish what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, and especially like that, given like, you know, we have some rules where you're not able to use 3 of the weapons, which is, of course, the pumpkin launcher, the claws, and then the goo gun as well. So, you know, if someone makes a mistake, they get a 0-point game. It's not the end of the world. It's not like they're banned from the tournament. It's just they're not going to get anything for that match.
Yeah, see, again, you know what? Listen, AVGL, Haichu, you guys are doing this right. I appreciate you guys
I agree.
putting this together in the format that they've done. So fair play to them, but fair play to Skullsy. Fades here, connecting some shots here onto Unicorn. Tadkin's there, not too far away from his teammate, but also not close enough to truly protect him if they decide to push that. And now Simatex and Vex. Oh my gosh, Reese, this is a team that I had very high hopes for going into the game, and they have not necessarily performed to the quality level that I was anticipating.
Yeah, they are not in our top 10 at all, which I think is really surprising. I'm just kind of scrolling through the leaderboards here, trying to see if I can spot them at all, and I don't even see them in the top 20 so far. So for a team that placed, I think it was 3rd or 4th yesterday, really surprising to see them kind of underperform today. And, you know, I'm wondering what the mistakes are. Are they shaking under the pressure when there's, you know, a lot more money on the line? You know, just being the pressure of qualification is one thing, but the pressure of $3,000 for first, and most importantly, a bucket of Haichu, like you're going to sweat.
Listen, I'm sweating just thinking about that bucket, and it's right next to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. So
That's the different reasons.
I can only imagine the pressure that's putting on these players, and that's why we're gonna see the true nature of some of these teams, right? Some of these veterans, people that have experienced this high pressure lobby and high pressure situation like this, they're gonna do better. They're gonna be more consistent, and that's solely because they have the practice, they have the time put in. And fortunately for them, that time is paying off. And for some of these teams that maybe don't have as much time, while they did great in the qualifiers, when the pressure's on here, when the prize money's in hand or potentially in hand, and those buckets are up for grabs, unfortunately, some of them begin to fold.
And, you know, I think we saw a little bit of that earlier in, I think, game number 2 from Mello, where he ended up doing a little bit of a choke, getting a little bit, you know, you think you're so confident, and then you jump into a 50-50 fight, and then you realize your aim's a little bit more shaky than you thought. You get picked up. But luckily that game, they managed to get the refresh off and get the reboot, and bring him back up into it. So, you know, I can visually see the nerves on some of the players. But right now, you know, they seem to be calm, a bit more collected. They've got themselves a good position. There's lots of cover around. There's a kind of spot on the players around them. They're waiting for that zone. You know, they don't really need to do anything super crazy at this point. They're just playing it slow, which is what I would expect to do basically at this point of the game.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. Even Fades and Skullsy are playing a little bit slower than what we're used to. I mean, to be fair, it is only Zone 2, and they are launching on a player right now as I say this. So that could be changing rapidly. They are a team that I fully expected to be more aggressive. In the first half of the games, they definitely took advantage of some of these other players having high nerves and went for the higher elim games then. But everything since has been quite calculated. They've definitely looked for the right opportunities to take fights and only taken the ones that truly made sense.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite yesterday. Like, when you watch them in the qualifiers, they were just hyper aggressive on everyone. And obviously that was the catalyst for their success. But ultimately, you can't do that in a set lobby like this, in a finals, where everyone is a significantly better player than an opens lobby. Because they've already proved themselves that they're top 50 players.
Yeah, they've proven something. And that's all that matters, right? When you make it to a finals, you're proving that you have what it takes to be amongst the best of the best in a collegiate event like this. And this is no easy task. The players here are some of the best across all of collegiate. So for them to go head-to-head in an event like this and even just make it to the finals, that shows heart and talent. But when it comes down to it, it takes heart, talent, and consistency to come out on top once the prize money is actually on the line.
Absolutely true. And, you know, Skullsy second place yesterday, as we already mentioned with Fades. Right now, where are they at? Do I see them in the top 10? I'm not seeing them in the top 10 currently. So, you know, they've definitely not been able to play up as much. And I think right now, this is the game where we're going to have to see some aggression from them. As we already mentioned, qualifiers, that was their success ticket. Let's see it again. You know, I want to see it.
Yeah, sometimes you can't fall back too far. Just because it's a single lobby setup doesn't mean you take away what has made you, or what got you, I should say, to that point. So, fair play. I definitely would like to see some more aggression here from Fades and Skullsy. At least pick it up for a period of time, right? I think going into the last game, if they have a really good solid 5 games under their belts already, maybe game 6 you just push everybody. That's the Epic Whale Classic. I'm gonna be real with
Yeah. You just want to win in style at that point. I do what you can, but have a look. Unicorn Man, Tadkins, still in Coney Crossroads. Of course, we saw a bunch of really good endgame here, either last game or the game before. Complete chaos. The most stacked match we've seen so far. And I thought we were going to see a little bit of a repeat, but no, we're going to see that next zone going over to the center. And kind of an interesting trend we've seen. Game 1 was near tilted. Last game was at Chrome Crossroads. This game now, again, in the center of the map. You know, any player can't really complain that much about bad RNG with zones because most of them have been relatively centered today.
They have. I'm actually impressed at the zones that we've been able to see, because there have been quite a few zones in past events where it seems that they pool every opposite end of the map and no one really gets a fair shake. But that's just the name of the game sometimes.
That is indeed. We've seen, of course, Gore go down there. Fortunate for him. Guys like Arabi in such a good spot, though, right? Center zone, third. I want to see what the back cover is like. Perfect, right? On top of a hill. This is like looking like a team set up to win. They're in the power position. They're set up to, as good as they can, get the fourth zone because they are in the center of third. They're just kind of chilling, right? I like that they're not really over peaking because a headshot snipe could completely end that game. They're just trying to get a little bit of that placement points up. Trying to get into end game as much as you can, as we see in the feed. Skullsy also picking up Unicorn Man now too as well.
I believe they fully got that team there. So that's going to be... Oh, actually, no. Unicorn Man is only knocked, so his teammate in Tadkins is going to still remain in this game here, at least for a few moments longer, because not only is Skullsy and his teammate there, there's another few players lingering close by, so it's not going to be an easy fight, to say the least, for that solo fighter. But now, Fades, the shots. Come on, my guy.
That sounds like you're trying to get this man some words of encouragement. You sounded half disappointed under your breath there.
Well, because I started that in a positive way. I thought for sure that he was going to have the great shots. And then, of course, as I say the shots, he missed every single one. So, hey, listen, it happens, right? I can't complain. I can't say anything. I'm going to be real with you. I have like a 20% success rate when it comes to my shots in Fortnite. So
I think that's generous.
Yeah, even that's generous. I'm not gonna lie to you. Look, I was trying to hype myself up a little bit, but
sorry, I'm here just to tear you down. I'm here to just tear you down. Don't worry.
Hey, what are friends for, right?
Exactly. Again, this is another rough zone though for a lot of our players that we've got. Skullsy still in the far side, right? We had them in a good position throughout the majority of the game, but this is the mistake that they have made in a few games before. Over aggressive, 6 elims, not the most we've seen out of any team at this point by any means, but now they have to start rotating. There's a big clear bit of open water in front of them. There's 2 teams to the right. They're gonna have to start positioning themselves in front of them, hopefully, to start spraying these guys. If I was them, I'd be wrapping as wide as you can around that left hand side there to try to keep away from the angles of as many teams and get them focused while you kind of just like sneak on by.
Yeah, you could sneak on by, or you can go head to head, and that's what Skullsy and Fades are doing here. I think they heard your outcry. I think they heard Reese go, yo, I want to see more aggression from them, because they picked up the pace. 6 eliminations here in game number 5 is a massive start, and they're not finished quite yet. Going for the bush play. They threw 2 bubbles down. Definitely, in my opinion, a bit of a waste of at least one of those bubbles.
I think that's a lack of communication, we should say.
I didn't want to call him out directly on the communication, but 100% that's what happened.
A spade's a spade.
True. You're not wrong, and that's why we love having Reese here. on the broadcast side to side. But no, kills ends up going down. Emis unfortunately finds himself caught off guard, and it is Fades and Skullsy picking up another 2.
Exactly. That was Miz, by the way, in 5th place now going down. So that's real unfortunate for them. But for Fades and Skullsy, they took the preemptive attempt to rotate early, get ahead. This is, I think, the 3rd or 4th time I've mentioned this now. The positioning is so important. Getting up ahead of the zone allows you to spray back on players who are rotating later than you. If you're at the back, you're last.
You're not first, you're last.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Oh man, and that's the mindset here of Fades and Skullsy. That's why we see them continuing to push for any eliminations that they can get at this point, because now's the time. Now's when all these players who maybe don't have as many hours in zero build don't realize everything that you need to do, and Fades and Skullsy can fully take advantage of that because they see these players rotating without cover, without shield bubble, without bunkers, and ultimately they're catching quite a few off guard. And there it is. They go for Maple, who, after getting his teammate, but unfortunately Maple is going to get out of their Fades now using the final bunker of the inventory, but finding himself right there in center zone. This could be a huge finish for them if they play this right.
It actually benefited them really nicely because now there's no one behind them, right? They've angled this porta bunker towards the rest of the lobby so that they're covered, and not a single player is in that route behind them. They do have to be really careful that no one sneaks down the hill, as we see right now happening. Frosty and Mellow starting to peek up behind. This could be an easy 200-0 if they manage to 3-2-1. And yep, Skullsy now down, Fades now down to 100 HP as well. They got the next bubble shield up. This could be a big push from Mellow and Frosty.
This could be, but we got to talk about the battle that's happening over there on the edge. Cut and Boosa are going up against the first place team in Twaddle and his teammate, as well as Mellow and Frosty going head to head there with Skullsy and Fades. All of our top teams fighting head to head right now. Mellow actually cleans up Skullsy and Fades. So Frosty, Mellow, they're still in it. They found themselves going into this game just at the end of the top 10. And after this, it's going to change.
Yeah, definitely. Leaderboard's about to shake up big time for them. They're not finished yet. Oh my goodness. No, the tire pushed him out into zone, and I think he might have actually been picked up there because he only had one single HP point remaining. Nope, he managed to somehow pick it up, and that must have been a Chug Splash savior for him. Yep, now down to 67 HP. 6 teams remaining. The last of his heals used up here now, and it's a lot of solos left remaining and still a good few duos too.
There's so much still left to unfold here. So many incredible teams left in this game. And Frosty now looking to push up against Becklin and Waz. This team has surprised me today. We've seen them in quite a few fights there, and unfortunately they haven't been as successful as they've wanted in those fights. But it looks like Waz unfortunately going to go down to Becklin. Becklin going to go down to Frosty and Mellow. And now Frosty and Mellow are going head to head with Joe, who wants that dub, and Mopey Turtle.
But wait a second, do you not notice at the same time our top 2 teams are still in it, also split as well? So Frosty now 8 eliminations on him, 7 on his teammate, 15 total. They've been fragging out this match, and this could be it. But yes, the battle of first versus second. Randy are now picked up. That's Boosa for a 7th elim total. Twaddle now hits the shots as well, so this could start to close the gap. Yep, they go down. That's second place now taking out first, and it looks like they're on a run to start taking the victory royale as well.
You know, I'm not sure how many eliminations Twaddle and his teammate had there, but for Cut and Boosa, they got 9, and they're not done yet. They just get a knock onto Turtle. They're looking to finish it up. It is a 2v1, and Cut and Boosa finish it, getting their first victory royale on the day.
Is it a 2-horse race? We've got Cut, we've got Boosa, we've got Twaddle D and Twaddle Dum as well up in first place. I'm thinking this could definitely shake up. Right, remember, going into the final game, only 5 of the 6 games will count, so their worst match will already be eliminated from the match. So going into the final game, this gets closer than ever.
It all comes down to this. They need to have a consistent game. Remember, they dropped in 12th in the first game of the day, which was a massive shake to their confidence early on. But with this turnaround here, going into game number 6, if they can repeat this, even if it's just a repeat top 5 performance at the very least, this could be the turnaround they needed to take that top spot.
Yeah, and I'm starting to look through the match history from our players here. And I'm trying to think, like, who's had the worst game? You know, what game is going to be eliminated? And I think, in all honesty, Cut's team has an advantage here because they've had more rubbish games, right? So one can be pulled out from that. Twaddle's team has had a bunch of really good games already. So it's like adding another one to that. I mean, is it going to make much difference to their leaderboard when only 5 of 6 games count?
I think you're right. I think unfortunately, not too much can change unless they get another win, right? Unless they get a dramatic high elimination
that
game,
too.
which unfortunately for Twaddle and his teammate, they just haven't done, right? Their eliminations, they let them come naturally, so they're not necessarily as high as a Cut and Busa per se. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds, but one game remains, one opportunity here for these players. But before we can do that, before we can dive into it, we got to go to a quick break. So make sure to stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high to choose to be you.
I choose to be true and I choose with my crew. High stepping through my high school, keeping my cool. I live by my rules, mouth full as I drew. Who needs more? I choose. Guess who me? I do.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high to choose, high to.
The moment is now. One game remains here in the finals of the Haichu Autumn Anarchy featuring Fortnite event. I can't believe the incredible plays, the insanity that we've watched thus far, Reese. And it's only going to get even more insane as we go into a very close race into the final game.
Yeah, we've got 5 games done, 1 remains. We sat through all the qualifiers yesterday. It was a blast, and it's all kind of led to this one point, right? One single game will choose the victor, of course, and our top 3 will go through straight to the Code Red tournament, win a big bucket. They're not the only ones who are going to win a big bucket. We have yet another giveaway. What is this, number 5 today now? And of course, that code you're going to want to be typing in chat is, little drum roll. Brrr. There you go, code Fruity. If you want to type in chat, code Fruity, spam it. You're going to see my name, a little tick next to it saying Fruity, because I'm trying to win me some as well. Go for it. Go for it. You can be like one of the players.
Let's get it. Let's get it typed in there. Fruity is the key word to type for your chance to win some incredible Haichu. Look, guys, this Haichu candy is no joke. This stuff is insanely good. Not only that, but again, we went over this yesterday. Haichu is gluten-free and contains no colors from synthetic sources. Guys, this is the real deal when it comes to candy. So go enter in for your chance to win from here. And look, if you don't get a chance to win the bucket today, it's okay, because it's at tons of major retailers. It doesn't matter. There's Target, Walmart, and so on. So many opportunities for you to find Haichu in your local stores. So take advantage of it. Unfortunately, Reese not going to find any in his local stores.
Yeah, UK, man.
Yeah, fortunate for him, he does have quite a big bucket to hold him over for at least another week or so, right?
Maybe a couple days at minimum. But of course, no, this whole event wouldn't be possible without Haichu. But similarly, our players will have to figure out where they are on the leaderboard. And we're going to have to take a look at that as well. With one single game remaining, we've seen it as 2 teams that are basically fighting off against each other. What we want to see is, how close is this within the rest of the teams? Who else is going to be able to clutch up, potentially getting that top 3, get that invite slot through to the Code Red tournament later in the week, get themselves a bucket, like it's at my feet right now. One of the, I feel like I just pick this up every time and just compare it to my head size every time. Win one of these for top 3.
You can. This is your opportunity. But what's incredible, right? So obviously, first place walks away with $3,000, walks away with a Haichu bucket, but they also walk away with the opportunity to go to the Code Red event and win even more. Like, there is so much on the line here to make it into the top 3 of this event. So I'm excited to see who ends up actually taking it, but it is almost time. They're getting their steps in over to the battle bus and getting it loaded for one final moment here in this event, man. And Reese, I gotta say something. It has been an absolute blast casting with you, man. It has been very missed. I'm excited to be able to bring this home with you, and let's get it, man. Game number 6 is almost here, and one last prediction on the day.
Ooh.
Who do you think's gonna win it all?
Look, where's my leaderboard? I'm going to pick the team that's currently in first as an easy prediction. So I'm going with Cut's team. Not just because they're in first, not just because they're in first by 7 points ahead of Twaddle's team, but because we talked about them at the top of the show, right? They won the qualifiers yesterday. They looked really good at the start of the day, all the way through basically every single match so far. So for me, look, I'm putting my money on them, but no actual money.
Yeah, no real money will be exchanged. Only Haichu individual candies.
Yes, not from me though.
Not from you. It's time though. Everybody, let's dive in to game number 6, the final game here of the day. Now remember, 5 games of this actually matter. The best 5 games of these teams are going to be what truly counts towards this prizing. Now, here it is though, diving in with Cut and Busa. And of course, they're finding some success. They're landing at the Lagoon.
Yeah, with no teams contesting them at this moment, so no off-spawn engagements. Down at Chonkers, we do see a lot more arrows flying that direction, so yet again, we're potentially about to see some of the off-spawn engagements with our second place team, Twaddle, who we've seen repeatedly over and over and over again, basically. But look what's happening in Tilted right now. Have you seen the map? There's like 100 teams in there as well.
Oh man, I actually didn't notice that. I wonder how many teams were landing there before, and then everybody's like, you know what? Let's bring
Tilted,
it home.
baby!
Let's do a little tilted finish. But unfortunately for I'm Not No D, does look like the games may be finished here today for them as Swaddle and Randir continue to win this off-spawn engagement.
You know, we've seen it game after game after game. Twaddle, Randir. Randir's doing a good job staying up behind, keeping the high ground, trying to lure out those opponents up to them because they have the right-hand peak. And moving back over to Tilted. Look at just how many players are here. This is just like and this feels like an arena game right now.
It does feel like arena. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think this is kind of chaotic to say the least. I mean, look at the sheer amount of players, and they're all inside Tilted. Like when we tune into an area like this, typically there's players like teams just outside of the POI. No, everybody's here, and they're getting their share of what is pretty limited loot in recent days for Tilted Towers. So you need to be cautious in how they're gonna play this out. And Jimmy Boy and Free though, using some shockwaves, kind of a little early in my opinion to be using those, but maybe they have a plan. But unfortunately, that plan might not be coming to fruition. Instead, I lied. They are winning. Their plan's working out because they walk away with a beautiful elim there. Now, Bloaties and Fire on the hunt to find whoever is left.
Apparently, still a lot of people. Surprisingly, still a lot of people left remaining in Tilted. And I've been watching the elim feed, and as I say that, Twaddle and Randir pick up 2 more elims down at the south side of the map as well. So now I think I'm doing some mental arithmetic as we've established. That's probably a bad idea to do, but they were 7 points behind. Now with those 4 elims, that closes the gap. They're now only 3 points behind Cut's team. However, again, it will depend on the overall scoring because those 5 out of the 6 games count, the best 5 count. But just looking straight at the leaderboard right now, it seems like they're only 3 points behind.
It could be. They could only be a few points here as of now, but that can quickly change. You know how this goes, Reese. Like, it literally, in the drop of a second, something can happen and the points are going to shift here. That's how close it is for our top 2 teams. And looking at Randir and Twaddle, they realized they needed a high elim game to finish this off because while they've had great placement games, the one thing they haven't had was a huge elim game. But this could be the change for them. You see 4 eliminations already on the board. Such an incredible start. It doesn't look like they're going to slow down anytime soon.
That doesn't. There's another fight we've seen a few times. Oh, but now we're starting with trading shockwaves out. Gore actually deciding to dip on out. Doesn't want to have a part of that fight. Maybe because the teammate is Dermo is all the way down to almost no HP. Bora will potentially be able to pick that one up, but there's a third party, Tadkins, Unicorn Man, and he's just flying straight next to him. Boris spotted it. He notices he doesn't want a piece of that pie at all. He's dipping straight out because remember, there is another solo up to the north. So if they're actually looking to get that engagement, they might be able to pick it up.
Yeah, they may actually be able to pick that up, but honestly, smart on Bora. I want to spend a little bit more time on this because he realized quickly that there's another team rotating forward, and it's not worth it. Sometimes you push for the right opportunities. That's not the right opportunity, and they realized it. But unfortunate now for them, as Unicorn Man and Tadkins, they're not giving up. They saw him on the back foot. They saw Bora just hanging out there after taking some shots, and they said, you know what? If they're not going to aggress us, we're going to aggress them.
That is indeed. Kind of just trading ammo, trading shots, and in zero build, it's kind of a bit of a waste of time to do that. Because remember, if these guys can just hide away, they've got overshield. So if you tag them for 50, 60, you know, that overshield recharges. So really, unless you're going to be tagging them for 100+ damage, you're not actually even going to be impacting their overall shield capabilities. So, you know, these small little shots might not be worth it. However, now that we see Tadkins going on the right side, this could potentially just be a pinch setup that they're trying to do. But no, wait, the shockwaves come out yet again. And not sure if that was their own one. Jelly down out in the open. The line of sight relatively clear for Tadkins here. And that should be an easy elim down onto Jelly. Yep, that's a single point there. Bora trying to win his 1v1 with the Unicorn Man. We'll see. I like how he's playing this nice and slow, playing the right-hand peaks. He knows he's got the numbers advantage because Tadkins is with him. Doesn't want to do anything too stupid here, but Bora Also playing the nice angles, walking around the right-hand side. You can tell this man's got audio-visual on. Yep, and now it's a 2v1 situation. Bora stands no chance, but the shockwave play does allow him to disengage, dip on out, get himself a little distance, create some sort of opportunity for him to win this here, but it's a bit of a slow fight, I'm not going to lie. Ooh.
It is, but Bora now getting that huge shot there to actually get in the fight and get involved here. Unicorn Man is going to go down. Now it's Tadkins left by himself, and this is a team that actually has potential to finish this off strong, but Bora might be able to end this for him as Tadkin now losing his overshield, going for the big shot. Bora 1 HP in a dream, and now they are all over. That incredibly long fight, drawn-out fight has ended as Tadkins walks away, not only with few eliminations, but is able to get Unicorn Man right back into the action.
Yeah, I like the absolute instant shield bubble that comes out. Just say, you know what? We're just going to protect myself. I'm going to instantly get the reboot. No one's allowed to shoot me. No third parties coming on in here. He knows he needs his boy up, but this is a massive fight yet again. Randir and Twaddle taking more fights, getting more aggressive on the south side. And that's Outrage, one of our top teams, also being picked off here now too. So this has been a massive play for them. This is aggression that we haven't really seen from them at all in any of the matches. Already up to 5 elims. I think their max so far was 10 by the end game. And they're just picking them up one after another. That's 6 now.
Wow. And it's really important to point out, Outrage is in 3rd place, one of the few teams that actually can challenge them here in the top 3. And so going for them was a huge risk, but also has huge reward, especially for the players that find themselves just outside of the top 3. Because remember, top 3 gets you the Haichu bucket and gets you that spot in the code red.
And obviously, Outrage has lost Goomba in that engagement. I wonder if he's got the card. Sometimes you'll be able to tell. Sometimes it just doesn't work. So, guess we'll find out if he gets the reboot off. But he has managed to get himself a big distance. But
wait,
no! Randir and Twaddle
over!
Down. Completely knocked out early by Arabi and Becklin. Their reckless aggression all of a sudden in the final game doesn't seem like it's going to benefit them. Now, this does not mean it's over fully for them, remember. This does depend on how Cut's team does here. Best of 5. Their best 5 games count. So this game, undoubtedly the worst game possible for Twaddle's team. Minimal points, even though they got 6 elims. The definitely other games have gained a much more placement points. So it's really all down to Cut's team to see who's going to take home the 1st place slot.
Going into this, their worst placement in a game was 4th place.
Wow.
4th place with 1 elim. So honestly, even though they got, 6, maybe 7 eliminations there, them going down as early as they did, it's still going to be the worst game that they've put up to date. Now, for teams like Cut and Busa, this is their chance to fully pull ahead. They know they've had some weaker games, but because of the consistent eliminations they've been able to put up, they are undoubtedly now the favorites going into these final moments.
Yeah, it's pretty safe to say I think these guys got it in the bag for the 1st place. You know, how much does Twaddle's team going down early impact their overall leaderboard, given the fact that they managed to take Outrage, well, 1/2 of Outrage's duo out? Could massively impact the top 3, which is obviously where the important qualification slots, the bucket slots. But also remember, top 8 is earnings here. So everyone who manages to get themselves up to that point in the leaderboard will be making some form of earnings. And hey, there's some nice money to be handed out here.
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, 1st place alone is $3,000. So the spread is nice here. Even if you aren't in the top 3, there's still some money to be had here. And I think Tadkins and Unicorn Man, they realize that. And that's why it's just a matter of staying alive.
You also have to remember, that Haichu bucket is probably worth at least $3,000 as well. So
I mean, I agree. Especially in the UK, you probably get double.
Maybe I should list it, is what you're trying to tell me.
Listen, no. Haichu, just send us more.
Okay,
it'll be like Prime all over again in the UK. But the focus is here. The focus is now, and the focus is on Spooky Hoods. Unfortunately, losing his teammate early on, Glace, they've done pretty well. I don't want to say they've done exactly what they were expecting, but they've done well going into this game. Yep, so top 10, which is definitely where they want to find themselves. But this being the last game, and with only one of them remaining in the game, I'm not sure they're going to be able to do much.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the earnings slot, though. That's really important. Top 8,
That's true.
They're currently in a position to make money. That's super, super important. But, you know, how big of a game do they need to be able to get to a top 3? I mean, they're real far behind. I'm not even sure if it's possible catching up, but given Twaddle and Outrage are both potentially down, like a 10 Elam Victory Royale could potentially push them up.
It could. It definitely could. So we'll see how it ends up playing out here. But Vex and Simontex, while I thought they hadn't been doing as well, I actually looked a little bit closer. Going into last game, they were actually in the top 10.
Oh, okay. They weren't
And
the
I
last
didn't.
time I checked. That's interesting.
So I'm curious. Let me see. I'm gonna pull up exactly where they're at. I believe now. they've
Boost is
finally-
down.
No.
Fully to full damage as well. Cut's just left as a
Unfortunate.
solo. Now,
And there's no way he can go back and get him either.
it would be rough. He has 6 chug splashes, so there's a potential, but the fact that his card now fell straight into Rave Cave, it's very unlikely. So it's pretty much all down to Cut to see if he can win this game out. And I think what's going to be really important is trying to get better than 13th place. The worst games that they have are 13th place so far. So in any way, if they can do that, they should be okay to still be in first. But again, this format may completely throw them off if they have a real bad game here. And he's going to go for it. I think he's going to go straight into zone and try and get that reboot.
Cut. My man. Hear me out.
He's a real G.
I might need him as a teammate. I'm gonna be real. If he's gonna be picking up people that far in a storm, like that is a true teammate there in Cut. So Busa might be able to get back into this game and finding a nice chest here on the outskirts. Unfortunately, not going to be any heals in there. That's what he really needed. He needed to find some more chug splashes or a med kit, something that was going to keep him in it. And of course, as I say that, he runs directly over some chug splashes.
Yeah, that's going to help him out big time. Of course, that's 40 additional HP, which right now with a 2-tick zone is 20 additional seconds. Questionably, potentially not going to grab himself those barrels, which I would do if I was him, just to instantly get himself a little bit more HP. Now he's trying to get out. Those shockwaves not necessarily doing him so well. And he's going to try and reboot in zone. Ooh. I think he should be okay with this. This should be fine.
I was about to say, I think this is actually the play. Busa's
Yeah, I
going to be
agree,
able to get
I
his
agree.
loadout, and he can just launch pad from Rave Cave straight into zone because it's not too far. Plus,
Yeah.
the zone isn't pulling far away from this edge, meaning that it should be all right. So I'm excited to see how they're going to be able to come back from this, because now that the top duo in this competition is fully back in it, will they be able to beat that 13th place? I feel like now, I think it could potentially actually happen.
Yeah, I'm just watching that Elam feed. You know, I'm waiting to see if one of those two goes down to zone.
That's a nice tag there and a nice elimination for Jack in Hyper Awareness, a team that genuinely needed a few more elims to pad the old record here going into this final game, because we've seen them in the top 5 quite a few times. We saw them win yesterday. So I know that they're hungry for it. I know that they're hungry for some of that cash that's on the line, but will they be able to get it? That's the real question.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
That as for a fellow caster, you know, for a fellow
Exactly.
boy, I'm just, you know, I can be biased. There's no one says I can't be a bias caster. There's no that rule wasn't written anywhere. I can root for who I want, you know. And
I agree.
And I'm with these guys. I want a good game from 'em.
I do too. And I think looking at what they have right now, they definitely can. I'm curious though, and this is one thing I want your opinion on. Built into the game, obviously you see the Mythic Hammer here, you see the Mythic Evo Chrome Burst. But there's a different variant of that Mythic Evo Chrome Burst, the one that you can get going over to Heralds. So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, there's no value in getting that quote unquote special Mythic from the boss there when you can just level it up the way that you can with the standard Evo Chrome. What are you thinking?
I'm with you. That boss is far too difficult. I'm telling you, it's
Very difficult.
I went in testing day one. Testing did not end well at all, actually. So, yeah, it's. I think it's not really worth the hassle it is, especially with a bunch of wolves they lay on you. So, yeah, I'm with you. Stick with the Mythic Hammer, and there's no need to switch to that.
I agree. I think that's the way to go. Mythic Hammer. And look, honestly, Cut and Busa, part of their success comes from where they've been landing, and part of that landing spot is them getting that Mythic Hammer assault rifle, arguably the strongest assault rifle in the game right now, especially when it comes to zero build, with the consistency that you can use or that you can hit from that AR. That's not something you get from everything. That burst assault rifle, while it's good and it can put out some serious damage, it's very hard to hit consistent shots at a medium to long range.
Yeah, it's absolutely undoubtedly true. Moving back over to Busa and Coot. Cut. We're still sitting in the bush. Far edge of the zone. We have to see how they decide to make this rotate. Now, this is the position that they've been in game number 1 that ended up getting them picked off at 13th, where they were late to rotate. I like that they're sneaking up on Cymatics, getting the beam off, and now that they've used that bubble shield, that actually gives them an opportunity to rotate. Because, of course, they can't shoot through that. But I'm wondering who is in front of them. How many teams potentially have eyes on our number 1 team? And it seems like they may potentially go for a shockwave play to try and land straight on a team, but they're going to be getting straight into an engagement when they land from that.
They are. It's going to be, unsurprisingly, some of these more aggressive teams that they're going to be running into. And now KNG Boulder, Mappy, going up against Mellow and Frosty. Now, this is the first time, maybe the second time we're tuning in with them this game, but they are arguably one of those teams that are on the bubble of doing something big.
Yeah, undoubtedly. And, you know, it's similar. Yesterday, they had a 25 elim game. Ooh, this could be the start of it right now as they start to fry every single player around them. Wow, instantly up to 8 elims. That was an additional 4 straight away, but hold on. Cut. Busa, after using the shockwaves, stuck in the zone. Oh, the boulder play might not be the right one for him. He's now stuck right in the open. Coot goes down. And it was 13th. It was that bad game that they had. So this could potentially be a 0-point game for them, since only your 5 best games count. But no, Busa's still left up in this well. No heals to his name. If any player takes a peek, even just sniffs at him by now, this is going to be the freest elim for them and could drastically change the overall leaderboards.
It could. And looking at it, obviously, it is better than their 13th place game with the elimination that they have and it being 7th now. And they're looking not to stop. It looks like Busa maybe getting the knock there onto Vex. He does. So if he can get that full elimination, that's another point there. Not only slowing down, though, because Turtle is going to go down. Another elimination point coming through. 6 eliminations in total here for Busa and Cut. But now Vex does look like he's potentially back in this game. So that's going to be one less thing for him to be able to count on. But he is going to go for the shield keg. That's a huge risk, but also huge reward there. He needed that to stay in this.
Yeah, I think he knew whilst he picked up that knock onto Vex that he has a bit of time. He bought himself, what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds while that res is going off once they find the body. Now, he's managed to get himself into one of the best positions. He's on high ground at this moment. Everyone else is now down below him. He does have to rotate, yes, but he is in the commanding position. He's now behind everyone, and he can start spraying them up in the back, and Vex starting to use that shockwave. Look, from Busa's perspective, he's just staying away. Everyone else is fighting. He's just allowing them. This is a top 5 for him already. He's managed to go from top 15. Oh, and another elim onto Vex as soon as he lands as well. This could be the play that actually ends up winning him the entire tournament. Oh, and the finish onto the knock as well. I'm not sure if that's going to be the elimination point. No, doesn't count because he doesn't manage to get that, but ultimately that changes the course of the match massively.
It does, and now he's going to have chug splashes in the inventory, which is going to be vital to his success. And Jack now finds himself the next victim of Busa, almost going down, does end up staying alive for just a little bit longer. But as I say, that fades, ends up picking up that elimination onto Jack. And it looks like now Hyper Awareness left as a solo player, Busa left as a solo player, and only one full duo remains.
That's it, Busa potentially going for a victory lap here, trying to win the final game as well as win the entire tournament, what we would imagine if they manage to pick up that victory royale. The main thing standing between him and the win is Skulls and Fades, who are the only main duo remaining, if I'm right. No, Hyper Awareness and Jack are still a duo as well. But they're the healthiest, sitting up on top of the mushroom there. But the zone is starting to move, so everyone's going to have to start to get into position. If he goes late, he may be able to be in an advantage position to shoot them up in the back.
He could, and you see Busa directly looking for Skullsy and FaZe. Now Skullsy pushing forward. Huge tag to start that fight, but now the shockwave play comes out, but it's not going to be enough. Busa is out here in 4th place, but I think it's enough for him to be able to fully solidify this and finish this off as our victor, as our top spot. But Skullsy and FaZe now fighting for one of those other top spots and a little bit more money there on the leaderboard. Yeah,
Hyper Awareness now left in it. We see the one knock coming through. Fade, Skullsy pick up the last victory royale of the day, of the finals at that. And I'm sure that's going to be massive for them overall on the leaderboards.
That's huge. That is really huge because going into this, they were in 4th place. meaning that
Ooh.
they could actually dethrone one of the top 3 teams with that incredible performance to finish it off.
Yeah, that's massive for them. I mean, like, total switch-ups from the top teams there. Obviously, we saw Outrage early. We saw Twaddle's team go down early too. Cut's team left as a solo. You know, it was pulling on my heartstrings there. I wasn't necessarily sure what was going to go which way.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't either. I had no clue how that was going to finish out. Boosta did a good job as a solo player. I mean, so much happened with all the top teams there in the final moments. That's what makes this whole event just that much more exciting.
Oh, undoubtedly. And, you know, we see some of the best players that performed yesterday doing the exact same thing today. Of course, we don't have the final results yet. We don't know who's managed to pick up the first place overall, given the format that we have. I don't want to call it too early, but let's be real. I do think it's Cut's team.
I don't know. After looking at how close Fades and Skullsy were, they had a big game. So it could be the shift. And that's the thing about this format. Like you just mentioned, it really is one big game and one of those bad games getting removed that changes everything. But we will know. We're not quite there yet. So you need to stay tuned. Stay in your seats. Stay in this chat because we're going to go to a quick break. But once we get back from that break, we're going to crown our winners. So stay tuned.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high, choose to be you.
I choose to be true and I choose with my crew. High stepping through my high school, keeping my cool. I live by my rules, mouthful as I drool. Who needs more? I choose. Guess who me? I do.
I choose to look in the mirror and say I like you. Smile as I hear it, feeling good. Waving high, choose high, choose.
Man, this Haichu candy, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been a good way to hang out with Resub over the weekend, man. This stuff is just so good, but it's time. It's time, folks. The Haichu Autumn Anarchy featuring Fortnite event is done. 6 games played here in the finals, 6 games played yesterday in the qualifiers, and it all culminates to this moment. Who will we be crowning the champions of the Haichu Autumn Anarchy event? Well, Reese, who do you think it is?
Let's see, the leaderboards are up. Cut and Busa, 149 points. I don't really think there was ever any doubt, let's be real. As soon as we saw that performance in the last game, we knew exactly how it was going to be ending out. So congratulations, they're our champions. $3,000 to them. And Twaddle and Randier, great fight. Great consistency overall. Just that last game, unfortunately, bit of a choke for them, I would say. Frosty and Fly and Mellow ended up pushing up into third just by one point. 1 point between it. Remember, of course, the top 3 gets himself a fantastic bucket of Haichu, but also gets that invitation to the Code Red tournament, which is next week. So that's a massive threshold to miss out just by 1 single point.
Well, another tough thing is to Outrage and Goomba. That's a team that we saw very consistent on the day. They were in the top 3 the entire competition. There wasn't a moment they weren't in the top 3 until the final game. Unfortunately, they got pushed out. And they actually got pushed out because of Twaddle and Randier's push onto them. So it's wild how the top 5 often affects each other. But one other honorable mention, one big name up here walking away with some money. It's Hyper Awareness and Cowboy Jack, our caster friend there, walking away with a little bit of cash, Reese.
Phenomenal. They managed to just do it in the final game, pushing themselves up, of course, over Cymatics and Vex, who performed extremely well throughout yesterday's tournament. And, you can't talk down a 9th place. That's fantastic. But anyone who was in the top 8, of course, gained themselves some earnings, which is absolutely massive for them. Remember, top 3, that's where it steps up a little bit more, though. So congratulations to everyone that we just saw.
Hey, listen, congratulations to all the players involved. Congratulations to all the viewers getting some incredible games to watch. And then last but not least, go follow my man Resub. This guy, absolute best dance partner to bring this home over the weekend. So appreciate you hanging out with me, and appreciate Haichu for making this happen. Honestly, look, if you're not grabbing some Haichu right now from your local Target, Walmart, Kroger, and so on, what are you doing? Get out there, grab some Haichu. Man, you can even find this stuff at PacSun. Go grab it at your nearest location now. Get yourself some Haichu. That's going to be it for us today. Thank you all so much for making this happen. This is Life with Panda, signing off. Peace, y'all.
Bye-bye.